But what of you, Darrow? We gab and gab over me. I think it's your turn, so tell me, what has taken you here? What pushes you? I don't think I've heard of your family.
Not that people would care to hear about, to tell it true. But I think it comes down to a girl, that's all. I am simple, so are my reasons.
The pretty one, Mustang. She hardly seems simple. I've told you everything. Don't be a vague purple on me. Cut to it, man.
Fine, the whole story. See that pack beside you? There's a bag in it. Reach in and grab it for me, will you? Let me see your hand.
My hand?
Right? Put it out, please. Come on, man. There's a theory I've been working on.
How does this tell your story or theory?
It's a complicated one. Better to show you.
Fair enough.
These all come from the dead kids. The kids that Medbots couldn't save. Let's see. We have Jupiter, Venus, Neptune, Bacchus, Juno, Mercury, Diana, Ceres. Oh, and we have a Minerva right here. Odd I can't find a Pluto. Oh, there's one.
Well, shit.
I thought we should become better acquainted, Jackal. I am Reaper.
You've the better name. How long have you known?
That you were the Jackal? A hopeful guess. That you were up to no good before you entered the castle. No one surrenders without a fight. One of your rings didn't fit. And hide your hands next time. Insecure sods always hide or fiddle with their hands. But really, you had no chance. The Proctors knew I was coming here. They thought to make it a trap to ruin me by telling you I was coming. So you would sneak in here and catch me with my pants down. Did you know the Proctors are helping you? That they tried to kill me?
Of course. My bounties are above average.
And you don't mind cheating?
Cheat or be cheated, no?
Well, they're not helping you anymore. It's too late for that. Now it's time to help yourself. I once heard that if a jackal becomes trapped, it will chew off its own leg to free itself. The knife might be easier than your teeth.
So if I cut off my hand, I can leave. Is that really it?
There's the door. Pax, hold the knife down so he doesn't cheat.
The Proctors may be nudging me, but I will still have to earn it, though.
Well, Jackal, we are waiting.
Adjustments to a dilithium crystal chamber complete.
Pre-recorded in a second-floor guest room filled with tall ales and taller tales. Join a group of grown men intent on discussing the intricacies of fantasy and science fiction. Tim Gilbert Media presents...
Dungeons and Dweebs! Got it right to the backside.
Hello, all you sycophants, psychopaths, and feral wolf-cloak-wearing howlers. This is the Dungeons and Dweebs podcast, Episode 8, Red Rising, Part 2. I'm your host, Bob. Don't lower your pulse shield around me or I'll make a broken puzzle out of your gory damn nasopharynx. Equine Belly Burster the 16th. But I'm not alone. Across the table from me, most folks don't call it a sling blade, but he calls it a Kaiser blade. The man who can blow his jam field faster than the jackal can dig his way through Pax's back, Luke.
What? That was awesome. You never cease to amaze me on this. Yeah. We're here, Red Rising. I mean, I think none of us hid our feelings about this book from the get-go.
No.
But yeah, let's wrap this thing up. Let's get it moving. To my left, he tried to start a revolution, but forgot to print enough pamphlets. It's Claude.
Hello, kids. I tell you, the older your old Uncle Claude gets, the less and less I enjoy winter. It's so windy and cold here that I don't know if I've been framed for murder and sent to Rurapenth with my captain, or I'm fighting my next regeneration while the first me walks out of a blizzard. Are those tauntaun intestines I smell? Uncle Clob needs a vacation, my rusty boys and girls. Well, enough of my machinations as I stand watch on the wall. Across the table from me, he's too young to remember clear Pepsi. He's the Bob to my Harry Dresden. The Human Torch to my Mr. Fantastic. Neil, how's life in your neck of the dark forest?
I'd like to point out one thing here. I had Crystal Pepsi last month.
Yeah, they did bring it back.
They made it back, so don't even go there. But I am with Clob right now. I'm actually feeling a little sick. Not really entirely sure why.
Because it goes around the table.
I know, it has to have. I mean, I've been feeling off since about last Friday. But hopefully I'll be able to be done with this pretty soon.
Wow. And you don't pass it to somebody else.
Something would be wrong if one of us at the table wasn't sick.
If I get pneumonia one more time, I'm going to freak out.
It has to be tradition here that someone is sick at all times. But that's enough about me. Let's send it back over to the man in charge for the moment. Bob.
The moment.
What?
Excellent.
Neil Rising. So, yeah, hey, last time, like you alluded to, Luke, we can't really hide the fact that we were really kind of going on all cylinders with this one. I feel everybody around the table really liked this book. But I have read books before where, I mean, they start strong and they build you to a certain kind of climactic point, and then all of a sudden everything goes wrong.
They leave you hanging, aching for a climax.
Yeah, and you just have to plow through the end of the book. And I was hoping that was not going to be the case with Red Rising. So let's get into it and see, does this book deliver the entire way through? Good start, but will there be a follow-through? Icky aftertaste.
No, my throat's feeling kind of dry, though, before we get going. I need a drink.
Ooh, yeah, actually, good idea.
Yeah, you know what? We did kind of break in the newbie last time. Who's
you know what? I'll take it this time.
All right, let's go.
We don't serve their kind.
Do you have any blue milk?
What am I supposed to find in it? Oh my goodness. It's bigger on the inside.
I want to go to Tashi Station to pick up some power converters.
Okay, it's not a detonator, it's just a jammy dodger.
What'll it be, boys?
Tavern Talk.
All right, well, my mug's full of some sort of rusty red down there, and I'm ready to hear, Luke, how was your nerd month?
Ooh, it's been exciting. Between Stranger Things 2, Thor Ragnarok, it's a good month to be a nerd.
Oh man! Hey, where do we start? Let's jump into let's start into Stranger Things.
Stranger Things 2, and I think we got to bring it up. The Halloween Spooktacular was recorded way beforehand, and
before it came out.
Yeah, we kind of called the whole Cthulhu. Or a Color Out of Space, ashy farmer, the upside down kind of being a H.P. Lovecraft.
I remember
texting
everybody the night it dropped, the new Stranger Things 2, and watching some of the episodes, and yeah, sure enough, here's this farmer's field, and the fruit and the vegetables are all ruined, and I'm going, oh no, our Halloween episode hasn't dropped yet. It's going to sound like we
watched it.
We watched it, yeah. But yeah, we were, I guess, mini predictors of the future.
And it was, Neil, you watched it, right?
Yeah, I think I finished it a couple days ago.
Sorry, Clob.
I am the only non-Stranger Things person here. Not that I don't appreciate it, not that I don't plan to watch it at some point in the future. I've just been holed up in my wintry cave watching hockey Stokey the Fire.
But we should let's just do it right now. We are going to spoil the crap out of Stranger Things 2 right now. So,
yeah.
If you have not watched it yet, skip ahead to
like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I don't know how long it'll go.
Enter timestamp here.
Future Luke, enter timestamp here. To avoid any spoilers for Thor Ragnarok or Stranger Things 2, please skip ahead to the 30-minute mark. Back to you. It started strong. I think we both kind of had the same feeling. Like it really kind of in the middle, where you start to meet Eleven's quote unquote sister.
Right.
8. Yeah. It was like
I felt that's where it. Although I enjoyed the aesthetic of that part of it, I felt like there wasn't anything. Unlike the first season where I kept watching, I'm like, I don't want to go to bed. I just want to keep binging this thing. There was times in there where I was actually kind of like looking at the phone.
Yeah.
My wife and I were looking at each other going, hey, do you want to finish this tomorrow, go to bed? Like, it definitely lagged. I'm brought back, the whole time I was thinking of the Lord of the Rings when Bilbo says, it's like butter scraped over too much bread.
I feel like butter.
I feel like butter scraped over too much bread. That's what I feel like. Is Stranger Things 2 is not enough butter scraped over too much bread.
Thin.
Yeah.
A little thin.
But we kind of talked about a little bit about this outside the show, which breaking the rules of podcasting.
Yeah, our rules.
About the end of it, I was super satisfied, like where it left it, and I think I'm really worried because I know what TV does these days, where like they're gonna do the same thing they did to Walking Dead, where they're just gonna like drain as much money out of this as they can, and they're gonna ruin it.
Yeah.
If it were to just stop there, I mean,
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, because that dance was awesome, and I don't know. I mean, yeah, part of me I love the characters. I want it to go on. Part of me,
I want another season personally.
Yeah. Well,
I want closure.
I want to see where it goes.
Yeah, you're really hung up on that. It went back to the under.
I don't feel that's
the underground. The upside,
I don't feel that's
down.
anything. I feel that's the hand coming out of the ground at the end of Carrie. It's just like it can be whatever you want it to be, and it's. Yeah. I mean, that's just what happens in the upside down.
Don't ruin something I love.
Yeah,
but like you said though, very similar to what they're doing with Walking Dead. If you look on Netflix, there's also now a show called Beyond Stranger Things, which is very similar to Talking Dead in a sense. I haven't ever watched Beyond Stranger Things though, I don't know if that's true.
I didn't watch Talking Dead just because I like Chris Hardwick, but I don't like him enough. I don't like him enough to keep watching it. It's not a good show to watch.
It's kind of funny though. I want to bring it back to like as far as between the first and second season, I felt the Demogorgon in the first season was actually scarier than these demi-dogs. I didn't like the demi-dogs, and what I kept getting thrown back, listeners will think that I only have two things I ever reference, Alien and Star Wars.
I was waiting for Alien.
But Alien is what's coming up to me, because the Demogorgon, to me, there's always something, big creatures. I know sometimes people have talked about how, the giant monster is scary. I've never thought giant monsters are scary. So that creature in Stranger Things 2, not scary at all to me. The Demogorgon I thought was scary. It's a human-sized creature. I always thought it was scary. These dog things, to me, it was like exactly what they did between Aliens and Alien 3. Which Alien 3 is not good. And they just took the aliens and made it into little dogs. Besides Sigourney Weaver
Klob
giving
is
birth
offended.
Klob, you're offended of Aliens 3.
All of them.
I do like them all, but it's the weakest of the three.
See, I think Resurrection is the weakest.
Oh, I said 3. I'm not counting Resurrection.
We don't count Winona Ryder.
Yeah.
I don't watch movies past when I hit puberty.
Yeah. So
no, I'm joking.
What?
On that note,
I did also, not to, the club, just so we don't leave you out of this, I did also go see Thor Ragnarok, which I know you saw.
Yes.
And now we're going to leave Bob out of this.
Yes, I haven't seen it yet, but that's okay. It's okay.
I'm just, like, before we really get in, and I don't even know, like, I'm going to pass it over to the table to you, maybe you have something, I don't Thor Ragnarok, I want to talk about the previews we saw. Black Panther looks just awesome.
Amazing. Oh, Black Panther was absolutely amazing.
I was kind of worried. I'm like, what are they doing? Are they just like, I didn't know where it was going to go.
And if you look at the origin of Black Panther was brought out with like Luke Cage in the 70s. It was set up as blaxploitation in the beginning. I was afraid they were going to try to do something with that, but no, they've taken it just a wonderful step further. I love the comparisons in the Black Panther trailer to. They were, people have been searching for El Dorado forever. They just were on the wrong continent.
That was really cool.
That was cool. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to feel about the villain, but I can say, and I'll be fully honest about this, I'm excited for Black Panther as a pale white guy living in the Great White North.
That's true. Very true. Very true.
Well, and I think we had this conversation. Marvel does have maybe an issue a little bit with villains. They have a little bit of an issue with their villains.
We talked about that.
Yeah. We talked about it earlier outside of the show. Yeah, that maybe Marvel villains don't necessarily live up to how great they portray the heroes. But
that looked really good. Justice League looks dumb.
I was just gonna say, if there's something that
time
is
of this recording
not
comes out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It comes out tomorrow, and if there's something that I feel is not on, half of our listeners might be screaming, but I don't feel it's on anybody's radar.
I have not heard about it. I've barely seen anything.
Just going off of the trailer, I went to the movie. I went to Thor Ragnarok with Neil and his girlfriend. And
she was the third wheel. Just to make that clear for this moment. It started with us.
We had a nerd date, and Neil's girlfriend came with. But so what I wrote, like I just pulled it. Yeah, because she listens.
Yeah, she listens more than I am probably.
She knows. So I pulled out my phone in the middle of the movie theater, and I just started taking notes on all this stuff. And it's like, why are they like in this trailer? Why are they acting like Superman isn't coming back?
Yeah,
like it's like I'm not surprised. Like at the end of Batman versus Superman,
yep.
You get the floating casket. He's clearly alive. It's just like, I don't know why you think you're hiding something from me.
Right.
And like that entire trailer felt like it was like, well, who are they talking to? Who's going to save us? Why do they keep saying he needs to come help us? Like, what? Shut up. Superman's coming back, we know.
Yeah, we know who who Alfred's talking to in the trailer when he goes, oh, he said you'd come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, you know what? If there is one thing from Batman versus Superman and one thing, I do love Jeremy Irons.
Yes. Yeah, he's a very good.
He's a wonderful character actor.
Alfred.
Yeah, he's a very good Alfred. Everybody else, and I was very much surprised when I saw Wonder Woman. How much I actually really enjoyed Wonder Woman, because the rest of the DC,
that's the high point.
The rest of the DCEU is stupid.
Yeah,
I agree. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know why they can't get a formula that works. I'm by no means a DC hater.
No,
I mean,
not at all.
I love a lot of their properties. I would say a lot of their superheroes are the ones I grew up with, so I have a lot of affection for them. They're screwing it up cinematically, and I don't know why.
And bringing in Wolfenstein as the main villain is, don't bring in such a random...
Is it actually Wolfenstein?
Steppenwolf.
Sorry, Steppenwolf.
So now we're going to sing the whole time instead.
Yeah, sorry, Steppenwolf. Bringing in Steppenwolf, I think, is a huge mistake here for the DCEU, because... Even people who read it, even people who understand the old comics universe, had to look up Steppenwolf.
Really, it's that obscure.
Wow.
Yeah,
I know. I think Suicide Squad was the last DC movie I saw, and I just
threw up in my mouth a little bit.
I enjoyed the idea of it. I bought the Blu-ray, but I said this is the last time I'm going to spend money on. These writers and directors and producers doing DC stuff, because it's garbage.
You know what, for me, and this probably nobody will agree with me on this one, but what I feel Marvel is hitting correct is comic book characters, besides I think Batman and a few others that have the potential of becoming really dark and sadistic. I am not a fan of dark, sadistic superheroes whatsoever, which is why I love things like Guardians of the Galaxy and what it looks like they're doing with Thor, where they're taking kind of this funny, campy, but yet serious, heartfelt, that's where I feel like comic book characters can live. I don't really like when my comic book characters are kind of that real world. I mean, I do. I enjoy going and watching that once or twice, but I think that going the sadistic route is not my favorite, and that's just for me.
And that was one of the things with Thor Ragnarok that I was so worried about, is that it was just going to be like a Guardians clone. That it was going to be that they were going to Guardians of the Galaxy out too much.
Yeah,
they don't. No. And I was so relieved watching Thor Ragnarok that it's not going to be like Guardians of the Galaxy where with the music, especially where the music is where they're playing essentially pop or rock songs that are so integral to the scene that's going on.
Right.
Really, the only thing that they play is Immigrant Song twice.
Right.
And the rest of it is this sweet 80s like background synth.
Yeah, which is really
just
cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring it back real quick to the Bobby said you don't like the dark, gritty superheroes.
Not as much. I mean, I do, but not. They don't have enduring quality.
Okay, I mean, and that's kind of something I do like. Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight is one of my all-time favorite movies.
Right.
I watched that thing over and over again. He did it right.
Right.
And I feel like was it Zack Snyder?
Yep. Yeah.
He's trying to like copy it, but he
can't do
terrible.
But that's because I don't know that all superheroes lend themselves. Batman is the one that I point out as being the kind like Punisher or somebody else that lends themselves to that dark, gritty world. But I don't feel, and you can't bring Wonder Woman and Superman into this dark, nihilistic world. I don't feel
where it works to a wider audience. I know that they've done it in comic books and people like that, but I don't think it appeals to a wider audience.
Yeah, and I do like Batfleck. Honestly, something that's kind of blew me away.
You like
Ben Affleck as Batman.
Oh,
Batfleck.
Okay.
Actually, I do. I don't think he does a bad job. I did, but maybe it was like my standards were so low. I'm like, oh, Ben Affleck is Batman. Why? And then in Batman vs Superman and in Suicide Squad, Batman and Joker were like my favorite parts of it, and they're in like
5 minutes.
5 minutes. But I have the director's cut, so it's like 6 minutes. But yeah, that's I guess enough about the DC. But Thor Ragnarok blew me away.
Loved it. The crossover storylines from Planet Hulk, along with the Ragnarok storylines, they weave them very well together. They actually did follow the old comics. They also actually followed real Norse mythology. Yes, they made Hela. They made Hela Thor and Loki's older sister. Hela's actually Loki's daughter.
Yeah, I did hear that. Yeah.
And Kate Blanchett. Oh, Kate Blanchett is hot as hell.
I've said it before. You give me a bad girl with dark hair, and I'm in.
You give me a bad girl cougar with dark hair. You gotta realize she's in late 40s, early 50s.
Wow, yeah. killing it,
kills it in this movie. It had enough camp to it where it was fun. It kind of reinvented Thor as a real person.
Yeah. Right. And it was really cool to see how they could like extend his arc. Like
yes.
Make it's not just a movie like, well, Thor is the god of thunder, Lord of Thunder, whatever.
Right.
Other way around. But yeah, it was on and I'm gonna put it out there, like my favorite Marvel movie right now.
Yeah. When you said that, I was blown away.
Yeah.
Like,
and I don't want you going like with those standards, but I say that, but I went in like being super excited. I've been excited about this movie for so long.
And see, it's my second.
Oh, okay.
It's my second favorite Marvel movie.
What would you put number one?
I'm a Doctor Strange guy.
Ooh, that is actually that one actually is way down.
Right field, left field.
Yeah, that one on my list. That one's way down. I was not a Doctor Strange fan, and I wanted it.
I like that movie.
I didn't, and you know why? Because it turned into Last Airbender for me. By the end, I'm just like, to me, Doctor Strange worked in the comics because he was dark and in some ways mystical and satanic and whatever in some ways, and this just made it kind of we're running around worlds that are flipping over each other like Rubik's cubes, and these Last Airbender guys are flipping around shooting their wave. Like it all became too campy and not dark enough for me. I don't know how to characterize what I mean by dark. I don't mean nihilistically dark.
I understand what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
And I think I think we're going to get there, but we had to. It had to be lightened up a little bit. I think to introduce a side character like Doctor Strange to a mainstream audience.
Mm-hmm. I agree. It would have been probably a flop
with that.
I wanted it.
Benedict Cumberbatch at. The casting, I think, for Doctor Strange was perfect.
That is perfect. Yeah.
And it's a little bit more nihilistic than
it is
the rest of the Marvel universe, which personally I kind of like. But the scenes in Ragnarok, I didn't get too caught up in this. The CGI was phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
I didn't get caught up like, oh hey, that's CGI.
No, not at all. No, I mean even with like when you're what was that Sakaar?
Yeah.
The trash planet.
And Jeff Goldblum stole the show in every scene. Granted, he's not playing anybody but Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, he's being Jeff Goldblum.
He's Jeff Goldblum.
And way to go for this director. Kind of an unknown, right? Waititi is the last name? From New Zealand, right?
Australia.
Okay,
he might be from New Zealand. They filmed it in Australia.
In Australia. Yeah. But I mean, he's just been doing like kind of low budget films.
Well, I love the fact that he throws himself. He voices one of the CGI characters himself.
Does he really?
He was Korg.
He was Korg.
He voiced Korg.
He voiced Korg.
Yeah. Oh, it's pretty cool.
You know, started revenue.
Yeah, I feel that's what Disney's doing it right. I for whatever people want to say about Disney with the two big franchises, they are making decent enough. They're not making bombs. I'll tell you that. You know, they're doing.
But I guess that's what I've been up to this month.
I was gonna say this is now Marvel cast.
Yes,
is this Marvel cast?
Good. Talked about this during a previous podcast.
Yeah. Some of our fans are just ticked right now.
I truthfully
the ones who like DC and Dragonlance are really mad at us.
This is Marvel cast, and the sci-fi ones are like, why are we listening to this? There's no sci-fi to be had.
Oops.
Oops.
What happens when we get put in a room together where we can actually talk for a while.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
Sorry, this show's free.
However, if you would be looking to sponsor the show, we do have openings for advertisement.
Yes. We also take checks.
Remember, folks, when you're writing out the check to Dungeons and Dweebs, our friends call us Dungeons and Dweebs. Our good friends call us Cash. Truthfully, Red Rising and Thor Ragnarok is all I've been doing.
Cool.
That's really what I've done this month. Work's been nuts.
Yep.
There's been different things going on. Again, Marvel cast, Spider-Man Homecoming was really good. My 10-year-old son's favorite Marvel movie now.
I can see that, yeah, definitely.
And I thought they did really well with that. Other than that, I really watching hockey and shoveling snow.
Yeah.
That's really what I've been able to do on my off time.
Yeah.
Neil.
Well, as we know, I went to Thor Ragnarok with Luke. Woo! Fun. Also, ended up finishing. Gotta bash Marvel for a second here. Actual bashing right now.
I know what you're going to
did
talk
you
about.
watch?
I finished Inhumans.
You are one
I
of the
watched
5
them all,
people on the
yep.
planet who has done that.
I finished it, and
That's what I've
Actually, Marvel
I finished
Studios
it,
should send
but-
you money for being able to do that.
cash.
Cash.
But finished it. I did like, though, one thing I liked, it was one of a few things, that they did not, spoiler for everyone else in the world, other than the other 4 people,
Yeah.
they did not kill off their main villain.
Okay.
Which is different than almost every other Marvel property that they have had.
But it's because it goes into a TV show.
Because
that I
it's
heard
TV
is
shows
doing
from- yep.
like just abysmal.
I have heard that under the table that Disney is so ashamed of this one that they're thinking it's ruining their television prospects.
Yeah.
They're
Would
like
not
really
surprise
ashamed
me
of
with
this.
that,
Yeah, really ashamed of it.
Was definitely not.
Which I don't think
something
I
I would recommend.
They haven't turned
No,
out a
no.
television and I'm not counting Netflix as
No.
They haven't turned out a television property
No.
that I think has really worked.
No.
no,
Agents of Shield never grabbed me.
No, I think I
And
watched.
we're back to Marvel
Yeah,
cast.
I think I watched half of Agent Carter.
Yeah.
I like the time, like the
I like
the
time
way,
period.
Yeah, the way they portrayed the time period. But
Otherwise, the only other thing really, if you remember from our last episode, we were about to finish our main D&D campaign. And I have one thing to say right now.
Hail to the king, baby.
Klob, I hate you. That's what I have to say right now. Klob, I hate you.
our GM comes through with the big plot twists.
Wow.
Klob is apparently our king.
Yeah, he ended up being heir to the throne. Klob has known for a while and kept that a big secret from all of us.
And to be fair, I didn't set this up. This was done completely by our great DM, and because my character had amnesia. So our wonderful DM set this up, and I've known for we've been playing the campaign for what, year and a half?
Coming up on 2.
Coming up on 2.
Yep.
I've only known who I was for the last 5 months.
Wow.
And it's been so hard keeping my mouth shut or not letting something slip until we found a spot where it was a perfect spot for the big reveal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you did some theatrics sitting there with
I
your
did.
hood, too. I'll put my sweatshirt back on and put my hood up.
It was cool. It was cool.
It was cool, though.
Yeah.
But otherwise, not too much in my world.
Cool.
We've been stuck doing a lot of after-school work stuff. That was fun.
Oh, yes.
And one final person. Bob, how's your nerd month?
Actually, after doing our Halloween, besides the Red Rising and everything else, but we did this Halloween Spooktacular episode, then it kind of got me back into wanting to read Robert E. Howard again. So I've been on the side in between all the other reading, going back and reading some of that. So it makes me think, though, I want to just very quickly, hey, listeners, looking at downloads, Red Rising Part 1, wildly popular, and then we've got kind of the Halloween Spooktacular that is our little baby podcast that's sitting there needing a little bit of love, and it's got a lot of downloads. But for me, and that is my favorite podcast that we have done, is the Halloween Spooktacular. Kind of really proud of that one, and it's right in my wheelhouse. So if you're listening to this and you're a big sci-fi fan, hey, just check out some of the dark, gritty pulp fantasy that we did for Halloween back there.
We had a lot of fun doing it.
We had a lot of fun doing it. There's a lot of little fun tidbits in there. So go back and check that out after this one drops. But that's all that's going on in my nerd world.
Well, I tell you what, you guys, Well, we actually need to get into Red Rising because we've done Marvel Cast for way too long.
Oh my god, half an hour of Marvel Cast.
We're here for Red Rising.
We're here for Red Rising. I tell you what, I'll get this round. Let's go back by the fire because I'm old and I'm still a little chilly from being outside.
It is pretty cold today.
So let's go back to the fire. I'll get a round for us, and let's get back into some Red Rising and let's hit Mars.
All right.
Woo!
You know Tashi Station?
I'm a leaf on the wind.
My friend got fired from there.
I'm a leaf.
Waiting around for that Skywalker kid to come pick up the power convoys.
We got downloads into the systems.
Aye, pull up a chair, friend.
84.
All right, here we are by the fire. Mugs full of ale.
Oh, man has his blanket.
You want to scoot closer?
All right.
Anyway, yeah, let's dive right back into it. We left off at the end of part 2. We're diving into part 3.
Gold. Chapter 20, The House Mars. Ooh. Yeah. So Darrow, he's broken after killing Julian, right? I mean, they just went through this passage. He's been forced, and they were naked, and they were forced to. Only one could come out. He kills Julian, which is the younger brother, right?
Yep.
Of Cassius, which is an important point that everybody should remember.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Cassius he's all ticked off because he's not finding his brother, and Darrow's hiding it, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, Darrow nobody talks about who they've killed, really, right? And I like how he says that society makes them do things like this because then they wear the guilt.
Yeah.
Right? And it kind of takes, in some ways, the heat off of maybe the corruption of society.
And we find out that a few people who
should have made
it haven't, and we have a few of the lowborns that are in here, or the ones that
low draft,
the low drafts that are in here that were basically supposed to be fodder.
Yeah.
Right. And what I like is, again, he's kind of going along this Campbellian arc of a hero, right, where this is where Darrow wants to reject this idea. Like, there's always the rejection by the hero of his place in life, and to take up the sword and to win freedom. And he's going to kind of in some ways want to reject it. Like, he just wants to go back to his family, just wants to be normal in some ways, and he feels that what's coming up is too big for him.
Yeah, and
I like
this aspect of, I can't do this.
Right.
There's this was a mistake. They chose wrong. I'm not the guy for this job. I can't do this.
Right.
But I'm here, and I must continue
and
forward.
What I like about this is, I don't know if Pierce Brown designed it to be this way, but I feel like you've had all of this epicness happening in the beginning of the chapter, or beginning of the book, and all of a sudden he narrows the scope of everything right down to the passage. Right? To just this small, narrow, tiny space where then this murder happens, and he's wrestling with all these decisions, and it brings us as readers down to this one little narrow chokehold of a decision before the rest of the novel opens up the other way. I think it's really cool. I like that kind of symmetry that's going on.
And so I've been referring to it as this when we've barely talked about it before, but we get out of the passage, we get to this dinner of champions. We get to it's the first night dinner at Hogwarts for all the kids. It really is.
It's just true. 600 people are dead.
Yes, exactly. It's
a little more gritty than that.
Yeah, there's no way Ron's here.
Ron did not survive.
But we meet here in chapter 20. And this is the one thing I love. We meet one of my favorite characters. Actually, I think he is my favorite character. I'm halfway through the second book right now.
Yeah.
We meet Roke.
Yep.
I love... Give me a poet warrior.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Give me a poet warrior.
You know what? I should have seen this coming with you.
Yes. And so we just get the little snippets of a lot of these characters here.
And kind of a weird little world building piece that's just kind of thrown in there. But that most colors use catalysts, and only 5 months in your utero is all that fetuses grow, and then they're taken out. The only ones who don't are obsidians, who carry their babies full term, which I thought was an interesting thing. Again, throwing a monkey wrench into this whole, like, how old are people? I don't know, they're using catalysts.
They're on Mars, but they're still humans.
Yeah, right, exactly. So it's kind of this, it does throw everything into question, right? But then we move on to chapter 21, right, our Dominion. We get to this nice little walk through the ecosystem of Mars, right? It's like you get that layout. We've talked about it in other books where it's almost like a video game schematic. We're going to take you up high level. We're going to kind of tilt you around, show you where everything's going to happen, so you know where things are in the chapters to come.
And we start to learn about the game.
Yeah,
Yes.
I like this. There's animals, things are carved though. So what I love is that you're not really sure what you're supposed to picture. There's deer and horses and stuff, but they're called deerling, right? And it's talked about how they're thinner than on Earth and stuff. So everything. What I would love,
Well, they would be because the gravity wouldn't allow them to build as much muscle.
right. So again, this is in really big talks right now to become a movie, and boy, do I hope they do it right. Like I said before, almost everything here would have to be CG'd. The trees would be way taller. Everything is everything needs to be touched to do it right.
Well, and you can really feel here how they're setting up this house. And the information we find out about the game is there's different houses. You're supposed to trap different people between the houses. We keep getting more information here, and we get his nickname for the rest of time.
Yeah,
out of chapter 21, because he and Cassius go for a run, and then they get mugged essentially.
They need food.
Yeah,
and there's no food unless they get it for themselves, and they see it's set as a trap almost, if I remember right, where they see a banquet set out.
Yes.
Well, I'll race you to it. They both take
it's a
off,
trap.
and of course, it's a tarp. Trap. Sorry, not a tarp.
Same letters.
Same letters.
Right.
And that's because he uses a scythe.
Yeah. Right.
Scythe.
Yeah. Scythe.
It's like
It's a scythe.
It's a scythe. It's for getting wheat.
Yeah. Which is where he's going to get his name, right? Reaper.
Yep.
Right, which I really like. I mean, good name.
And during this trap scene, it's Cassius and Daryl by themselves at the start, but then the rest of the house gets there. And I just had to say this. Titus, just huge guy, he punches out a horse.
I
wrote down on my notes, Mongo from Blazing Saddles.
Mongo only pawn in Game of Life.
And all I can think for Titus now, he's just a pawn there. He's a pawn in this game as well. And it'll come up later.
I'm thinking Schwarzenegger. Because
Conan,
when he punches the camel. Exactly.
But yes, you're right. The fact that he punches out a horse.
Wow. He's awesome.
Oh, and Cassius, when he's fighting, Darrow's seeing how Cassius fights. And this dancing style and all that. And it calls back to how Julian was not as good a fighter. And he's able to see,
yeah,
I'm glad I didn't meet him there. I wouldn't have stood a chance at all.
And I really can't tell him right now, because if I tell him right now, he's going to kill me.
Right.
You're way better at this than your brother.
How'd you learn to do that?
And we should dwell maybe for a second to set it up here, what the rules of the game here are, right? Everybody is split up into houses, and they're supposed to kind of battle for supremacy, but they're not allowed to kill each other.
Correct.
Kind of. I mean, we see that those rules are played with.
Yeah, they're not mad bots that fly around and try to save everybody.
And Proctor's sitting there watching everything from above, eating and
every house has like a standard or a flag that they keep in some sort of inner room.
It's essentially a large game of capture the flag.
It's a large game of capture the flag
with death, destruction, and swords.
And what I think here again,
slavery.
And slavery.
He does throw in kind of
prisoners with jobs. Okay.
He does. He throws in kind of a Nazi-ish element here as well, where you can capture slaves and you make them your slaves by touching their foreheads to your standard.
You brand them.
You brand them in a way, which is just like what Adolf Hitler would do if you watch like the film that they did, Triumph of the Will from 1936, where the Nazi flag that was dripped and got blood on. He would touch it to his followers and all this kind of stuff. So it's got this kind of Nazi-ish element.
And isn't that correct me if I'm wrong? This is kind of where like you come out of this one of three ranks. You're either the fearless scarred.
Yep.
Something and something.
Scarred, shamed
is the bottom
because you follow the rules.
Yes. And normally it's the slaves who decide that they're not going to follow along with what's being told.
Correct. If you are branded, you have to follow the rule. You have to follow the rules, and you have to be a slave.
Yep.
So you can't rebel.
Right.
So again, another one of these teachings within this society that we've learned about through the first half of the book here about they're even teaching the Golds that slaves don't revolt.
Right.
But these slaves, later on we're going to see that they have a very loose interpretation of what's told to them. If they say,
oh no, it's a very tight interpretation.
It's, all right, so say Klobb's a slave in this situation, You need to keep watch for enemies. Okay, I will keep watch. You can just stand there and watch and not say anything.
Yeah, you didn't tell me to do that.
You didn't tell me to do that, so I'm just going to only do this.
And still be honorable.
Correct.
The only thing you can't do is rebel against your master.
Right. Yep. And all of this, it should be said, these chapters merge together, so we might not always touch on them, as headings, but we're merging into the tribe here and everything like that.
So we go through, we have a house divided. We find out that we're supposed to be fighting these other houses, but there's so much civil war going on in the House of Mars to begin with. They can't get their heads on straight to go find the other people.
This house is completely screwed up.
And I love these sci-fi the science fiction maps in this house.
Yeah.
Where you don't find, nothing appears on your map, on this big stone map on the wall. Nothing appears on your map
until you've explored it.
You've found it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that was really
so cool. Nobody knows what else is going on. Who's in the control, who's in the lead, anything like that. I really like that. So they do start to do these scouting missions, and that first they need food. They don't have fire, and someone's just like Survivor or something like that, right? Severo brings in a wolf that he's killed with his bare hands and blood under his fingernails. God, he's so he's so feral.
His own tribe.
I love him.
Severo's off by himself somewhere.
Yeah. Right? This is like right now, like I really do like Severo, but like at this point, it's kind of like painting me this like, God, what a weirdo! Like I don't know what to think.
You're supposed to. You're supposed to think he's weird.
It does like he killed a wolf.
Yeah.
Okay. Now he's wearing it.
He's really attached to that wolf. I don't know what's going on here, man.
And so you have this picture of Daryl learning about the other golds here.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And this is really his first time learning individual personalities, and they're just not all the rich golds living in the high tower.
Right.
And so Severo having this personality, it's really messing with Daryl because he's like, a gold. The rich kid isn't supposed to act like that.
You're all supposed to be these like sycophants, just like sitting at the top of society, and you're not. And he sees
eating your peeled grapes.
And he sees how this like makes them like they're forced through this Darwinian struggle that, like you said in the last podcast, kind of in ways makes them the best. In some ways, right?
It's not right.
It's not right.
But there is a method to it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's how you become like almost Spartan.
Which is what I like about this book, because it makes you wrestle sometimes with uncomfortable ideas.
Yeah.
And there are a few of the House Mars that are kind of brought to the fore. We have Titus, which was mentioned. He's this big blowhard and liar. Antonia, who is described as being kind of spider-like. She's just willing to stab anybody in the back. And then at the top is kind of Cassius and Daryl, right? Who are, they're
working together, but neither one wants to admit that the other's in charge.
And Klob, I'm going to go with what you said the last podcast. I really start out liking Cassius. I know fully what's going to happen, but I like him.
Exactly. I'm waiting for that shoe to drop. From this portion right here where they are becoming friends, and Daryl is learning that golds are people.
Yeah.
Right. Golds have emotions, and golds have, want to prove things to their parents, and and want to, and be with their families and want to understand this. And I'm really liking Cassius here, and I'm really feeling for Daryl because he now has a friend.
Right.
He's now got a friend in all this, that he's got at least 3 deep, dark, horrifying secrets that he has to keep from his best friend. From his one friend.
I'm a red. Oh yeah, I killed your brother. Oh yeah, I'm trying to topple society.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Exactly. So we move on, and we have this split where Cassius and Daryl and their little party gets
kicked out of
the 4 tribes.
Gets kicked out. Severo's off on his own. Antonia's gone off to do stuff, and Titus is just in the castle living high on the hog.
Right, and Titus is just a jerk.
And they're not really living high on the hog.
No, not at all.
Because there's no food.
Which instantly puts up this desperation, because Daryl needs to rise to the top of this game, and that he's starting out not even with an organized house, and they're already divided amongst themselves, and you're like, okay, how is he going to pull this one off?
Yeah, and now that we've heard that, and now that we understand that somewhere out there are other houses, we don't know how many, but there are other houses that are going to come to try to capture your flag.
Yeah, and they are not ready for this.
They're not ready for this at all.
No,
because there's civil war.
And Titus ends up capturing and enslaving a couple other like random people that they find in the woods.
And Darrow's jealous because he didn't capture someone first.
Because he didn't capture someone first, and
then he gets upset, and we have this creepy description of Titus and his boys taking these gold girls into the tower and like beating them and raping them.
It's really brutal.
It's
really awful.
Not a children's book.
Nope.
Not
young adult novel.
No. But, exactly. And so we've kind of gone all the way through, right? Almost through 23, 24. Again, all of this is merging. This is all merging together.
And that was one of the fun things. That's one of the things I like about Pierce Brown's writing here, is it does flow. You roll through the chapters.
One to the next.
Yes.
And going back to this whole two different tribes, there's a moment here on 186 that I specifically wrote down because I wanted to remember it. And it comes to Cassius, Darrow, and Roke are currently talking about who killed who in the passage.
I've got this in my notes too, yeah.
And anyway, they're talking about how, well, clearly Titus had to kill Priam.
No.
Darrow starts going, no, he didn't kill him. But he had to have killed someone. And he starts trying to slowly imply to Cassius that
he killed Julian.
Titus killed Julian.
And
yet,
Titus did.
Watch as Klob and my favorite person right now, Poet Boy. Poet Boy Roke just kind of looks at Darrow the whole time. And it even has Roke never leaves looking at his face.
Yeah.
So one person knows.
Yeah, he totally.
Cassius is buying it because he wants to buy it. He wants to believe that this is the person.
Yeah,
he needs the closure.
Yeah, he needs to know
thinks
who
it has to be. So he's ready for it.
He already hates Titus.
Correct. He already hates Titus, which leads to 25 with tribal war, like we're talking here.
Right.
Where Cassius has enough of this, of what's happening to these girls in the towers, and he goes off on his own to try to save them.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And then bring in the proctor here, which Fitchner, who's been kind of talking to them throughout.
Dr. Fitchner.
Yeah, and he says as long as he's not murdering them, it's not his concern.
Yeah,
which is
that's dark.
Yeah, I mean, this is hands off, and it should be said that they have the proctors have these cloaks, right, which make them invisible.
Yeah.
And so that they're able to kind of hover around and watch what's going on. And this is all just a big game.
And we talked a little about Fitchner because we just barely met him at the end of the first podcast. Yeah. And I start out wanting to like Fitchner.
Yeah.
Wanting to be like...
Oh, it's hard to, though.
But I start out wanting him to be like, oh, he's gonna be the teacher. And he's gonna be the rough teacher who's gonna be who's gonna be kind of cranky with these. Everybody's pointing at me.
Oh my god!
But you grow to love him, right?
I'm sorry, that's just my way of looking at him.
It's
there's kind of the image I have.
It's almost like the not sitcom-y, but like the high school drama where it's the gruff teacher, but everybody kind of likes him.
Right. Yeah.
At the end, you find out that he helped everybody out.
Yeah, he's got really good sideburns.
And so, and so I'm feeling like I want him to start out like that, and then all this stuff keeps going on, and like you said, super dark. Like, oh, he's not killing anybody.
Yeah.
But I got the feeling right away, and this does come up later, but I got the feeling right away that he is in some way at this point different than the other proctors.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
definitely. I love this because we're talking about tribal war. So Darrow has this whole plan about how he's going to take down Titus, and it's really good, but it's all interrupted. Titus captures Quinn and sends her ear as bait for Darrow, but it's Cassius that is brought in on this bait.
Oh god! And then Cassius is like, Superman, I'm going to go save her.
They beat him and urinate on him.
Yeah, that's
send him back in shame. It is just brutal.
The page that I opened up to, he smells like piss.
Yeah, it's just awful.
But they know they're all golds, and they know that that's really going to follow Cassius for the rest of his freaking life.
Right.
He was this dishonored by these quote-unquote lower houses.
Right, and I see that at this point, people aren't really dying. Right? Mm-hmm. So it's all about, like what you said, it's about dishonoring them, right? These are all golds. Mm-hmm. So what can we do to you that will make you carry shame the rest of your life?
And there's a lot about there's a lot here too between the different golds families.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Outside of here where, your great-grandfather once cheated my great-grandfather out of some land and you became more powerful because of it, so I'm going to pee on you.
I really do like the idea of, diving into how terrible humans can be.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
Like, hey, there's no laws here except just don't kill each other.
A little older Lord of the Flies going on.
Yeah, and I like how Brown
for sure.
bounces back and forth between these sweet, really, really human, nice moments between, where Darrow's learning that the Golds are really people and they really have feelings, and then all of a sudden they beat a guy, rape him, and pee on him.
Yeah, yeah,
They don't rape him. They don't rape him, but they're raping other people.
Yeah,
They're
right.
exactly who I thought they were.
Yeah, no, it's horrible.
And you really feel the conflict from Darrow with these people on, they really are who I thought they were going to be. I'm going to take this whole place down. Oh, but Rogue's nice.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Rogue's nice. I like Cassius. I feel bad I killed his brother. Oh my God, what are they doing?
So we're now merging into chapter 26, Mustang, and Cassius and Darrow. They journey farther than ever, and they run into Mustang. And I like how she's described. She's gorgeous. She has lines of blue on her face. Something. She's very Celtic. She's got this.
They'll never take our freedom.
Yeah, they can take our lives.
She's a Pict.
She is in a lot of ways, right? Blue woad all over. And they try to take her horse. And she's part of the House Minerva,
So many
right?
horses.
Athena.
Is Minerva Athena?
Yeah.
Yes,
Is that what that is?
Minerva,
you guys gotta
Athena.
fill me.
Minerva is Athena.
Yeah, Greek mythology was never my thing.
No, it's the wisdom house. Mars is the war house. Mars is the fighting house.
The house
Minerva,
that fights
the
with itself.
wisdom
Yep,
and
okay.
battle strategy stuff.
Yep.
So. Okay, cool. But I like their plan that they had for this whole plan to take over House Minerva. Well, we're gonna get the house, and then we're going to plan is messing up. Jump in the water. We'll wait here for a long period of time. Yep. And they're sitting there just shivering, waiting.
And since I'm
treading water for hours.
And someone wonderful comes to help out.
Yeah. Well, and I got to just outline, I'm not going to go into this whole plan, but since I am the guy who's known for harping on plans, can I just say that I love Darrow's plan? Darrow continuously comes out with good plans and real world style. They fail.
And even when he's flying by the seat of his pants, he's still
logical.
He's still coming up with logic.
Yeah. It's what I love is there's not holes in this writing for me. There's not holes that I'm poking at, going, oh, that makes no sense. Why are they doing that? Everything is making a lot of sense.
I did have a problem with, even if you're carved, even if you're gold and you have the extra bone density and the treading water for hours that bugged me.
I agree.
Don't bring that up.
You know what? I don't think they were treading water though, because didn't they say something about they had something they blew up that they were kind of floating with?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, there was something.
Thank you for
There was something. I can't remember what they had, but something they.
Either way, if you have extra bone density, you should sink faster.
It is true.
Yes.
It's true. But that'll actually be, and I might as well bring it up now because that is when we get into later fights. There are things that go on where they're throwing nooses over people's necks and dragging them off walls with horses and stuff, but it's not killing them. And a lot of that I am chalking up to, again, they are on Mars with less gravity, so really brutal things are happening. They're augmented. Yeah. They have less gravity, so impacts aren't going to be as hard. They're still going to be hard, but less. Right? Yeah. So I'm chalking that all up to that stuff. It's a gimme, and I'm giving it to him because I feel it's just fine.
But I like how his plan here, once they finally get into the castle, their main goal is to
Wait, no, we're not there yet.
They were rescued by Severo.
Severo Batmans it out of the woods.
Yeah, which I love. What do you think I've been doing this whole time? Waking off in the bushes?
Actually.
I love the fact that they go kite.
There's humor here. What I love, even before this, when they first meet Mustang, he's looks at her, like, does every house have horses but us?
Yeah.
All the
horses.
All horses, and then the stuff with Severo. I mean, it is a dark, brutal book, but there's also these rays of comedy.
And I think that lends a lot of humanity to it.
I agree. Yeah.
There's humor. There's darkness, but you got to have a little bit of that humor in there too to prove that they're human.
No. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But their plan here, main goal is to get House Minerva's standard.
Correct, because when you collect the other standards, you get more stuff.
Yep. I like their second plan, to steal the cook.
I know that's awesome.
We want to get the cook and the standard, and there's also
because everybody in the castle everybody in Castle Mars is starving to death,
and no one can cook,
and no one can cook.
And I like how also there's this one spot, and I wrote it down just because I was interested. Someone named Pax seems a bloody nightmare. They're looking at the score sheets in House Minerva's map room. Yeah. And this guy, Pax, war room? Yeah.
In their war room, yeah.
Pax is a bloody nightmare. 8 slaves, called down 9 med bots for people.
Yeah.
Well, this could be fun.
Yeah. And because when somebody gets hurt, too bad, these med bots fly out of nowhere to kind of take care of them.
And Pax is a great, Pax Telemanus.
And we haven't quite met him yet.
No, we haven't. We haven't met him. We
still
just
ways.
But you do have the vision that anybody with that simple name of Pax, just PAX. This dude's a bulldozer.
Yeah.
You know this dude's a bulldozer right now.
They give him a short name because he is he's strong like tractor, smart like tractor.
Yes, exactly.
But I love that it's very medieval. A lot of this, when you get on the other side of the passage, man, you're instantly in some sort of barbaric dystopian medieval, because everything's castles. They're fighting kind of with swords, but there's augmentations of kind of
horses,
high tech and horses. Yeah. So, but it's really cool. Again, something I would love to see put to screen, because I think it would kind of look unlike anything that's been done.
Man, castles, swords, horses, and then these med bots like zipping around and like rescuing people. The visual that paints is just awesome.
It paints a visual of Krull.
It does. It does.
It's Krull, but it's very cool. I love it. But we're on to the 27, the House of Rage. Actually, we weren't far from Pax.
Yeah,
I was wrong. Yeah, Pax is next chapter. Yeah. They return with all their stolen standards and horses to find that the house was captured by Mustang. Right?
Mustang and Pax.
Yeah, Mustang and Pax, which I love that. His plan goes perfectly according to type, and Mustang has thwarted him and come back and taken their tower. I kind of love this.
Lulz.
Yeah, kind of lulz. I love Pax too, about how he's gonna
show.
Daryl says Daryl shouts his name all the time.
Good battle cry. Pax.
Yeah.
And then we have this.
Daryl's going to mash his grapes.
Titus has been captured. Mustang wants to punish him, and Daryl wants to step in and say, "No, we should punish our own." And then we roll into 28 here, where
my brother
he has this.
I want to rewind. Quick.
Go.
Because at the end of this chapter, they talk about the one called the Jackal.
Yeah,
it's our first mention of the Jackal, and I just wanted to make sure that was in there.
And I do like how
he's just a rumor. He's just there. He's smarter than everyone. He's better than everyone. The Proctors are talking about him. Why are the Proctors telling other people information, but not House Mars? But just a side there.
Well,
Mars kind of gets nothing.
And I do like how all the important people aren't going by their name.
Yeah.
All the important people have nicknames. We have Reaper, and Mustang, and the Jackal.
Yeah,
and so that was one of the reasons.
No nicknames. He's not important.
Handsome.
Oh, yeah, Handsome. That's right.
Mustang keeps
calling him Handsome. That's right. Yeah.
Handsome.
And that's kind of how I knew that Titus wasn't gonna be long for at least being in power here for a while, is because they never called him the Brute. I mean, they never they never gave him a nickname.
That's true.
Nicknames you last longer.
Yeah, I like that. And some people might see that as a weakness. That maybe they're on the nose names like Reaper and Jackal. I don't care.
I'm sitting at the table right here.
Speaking of Titus Club, chapter 28, my brother.
Yes. This freaked me out.
I did not expect it.
This freaked me out, and I felt really good about myself because I caught it as soon as he said it.
Oh, yeah, when he said the first word, yes, but...
I did, what is it? Is it how the chapter ends? That
218.
Yeah, 218. This is, oh hell, Titus is a red.
The fact that he uses the wrong swear word.
Yeah, Red Rising, I'm holding it in my hand, is the only book to make me audibly go, what? Like, that is such a twist. And then, like, just to, and it's, Daryl is starting to compare himself after this to Titus. Like, why would he do that? Yeah. He's just like me.
Yeah.
How many other people does this resistance have in here?
Yeah. I love it. I love it that
it the House of Ares or the Sons of Ares that did it though, or was it a different group that's setting someone else in?
I didn't think that much into it. Like,
is he really? Do we ever, other than just using the wrong swear word, we're never given clarification on this. And Pierce Brown, I like that.
Yeah, I do too, because it leaves
it to mystery.
And leave it. And Pierce Brown,
leave it to mystery. Don't make it in a comic or anything
well,
else.
It's an iron gold.
It's
like,
it probably is. He's already done it.
That's not.
That's the new one.
Yeah, it's coming up.
But
it might be.
It's probably in those comics. I don't know.
So Titus says bloody damn instead of gory damn, and from the beginning of the book, this was one of the hardest things for Darrow to do himself. Was to train himself to use the right swear word.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. You're just doing that on the fly.
Yeah.
Like
Are there more though?
Exactly.
Are there more reds that are carved?
We don't know. But again, was
everyone's
in
an
a red? I don't. Was Titus a red?
We don't know.
We don't know.
But if I'm going with that, he is a red. What I love is that he's here. Darrow is here fighting for the freedom of his people against the oppression of the golds, and the worst gold that he's ever met now in this thing is not a gold. It's
Possibly.
a red. I'm going to go with that. He's a red because I like this that he's almost confronted with an exaggerated monstrosity of himself. In some ways, the leader of House Mars is a red like him, and he's a monster. And Darrow could become that as well, right? I'm gonna take it as kind of that, right? But we're on to 29, right? Unity. Darrow decides to execute Titus.
Nothing bonds people like a good execution.
Good execution. Yep. But Cassius,
Montoya. You killed my brother.
Cassius thinks Titus killed Julian, so Cassius wants to do the honors. And Cassius butchers.
And Darrow is just kind of like, yeah, sure.
Watch.
What I like though, this also sets up,
he totally killed Julian.
This sets up though that Cassius is the better fighter than Darrow with the razor.
I remember that.
Yes.
And so that Darrow knows he needs to learn something from Cassius.
Great descriptions of the razor. Does he have a razor at this point?
He doesn't have a razor.
This is just his regular fighting form.
This is just his regular fighting
form.
Great description of just how smooth, and I'm thrown back to like the old like Errol Flynn sword movie.
Yes.
How it's the fencing and it's the sword and sash instead of the sword and sandal.
I think referring to it as dancing really paints a good picture.
Yes. I think we're supposed to be led to believe that's kind of Errol Flynnish in somewhere ways. But I like there's a bombshell at the end of chapter 29. Fitchner.
I want to rewind.
Rewind.
No.
What do you got, man?
It's just a spot here where he finally talks to Fitchner. So just right before what you're
right.
Going to,
Okay. Yeah.
Where Fitchner actually explains, well, Board of Quality Control, we have a limit of people that can actually die here, so we're monitoring that, but we're still fine. Not enough are dead.
Not
yet.
enough
it's okay
are dead
if they
yet.
more die.
So death is
because he scheduled the execution.
Yeah.
The execution
Because the execution was Darrow's idea, and a lot of the proctors watched. They were above just watching, some invisible, some not, just to see how he'd respond to it. And then he has this meeting with Fitchner, and even though the Jackal killed a lot of people somewhere, what'd the Jackal do now? I really want to know what the Jackal did. Which leads to the Jackal.
Yeah, which he reveals the Jackal is the Archgovernor's son. Which is
the guy who ordered his wife's death.
Right.
The guy who ordered Eo's death. That we fawned over in the beginning.
It's his son, right? Yeah, so that kind of a big... Which then immediately puts direction to Darrow. Darrow now has a goal, which I like, because love this writing. Everything about Mars is falling apart. There's plans, but it's directionless, but it's for a purpose. Yeah. It's showing... Everything is survival, and everything is chaos, and there is no direction, and all of a sudden at the end it's like Fitchner this beacon comes on like you need to go to the Jackal, and it gives our hero, I'll call it, direction, right, and what he's going to do.
It does gotta be like he does want to become peerless scarred. He does want to be ranked high up in the Gold Society, make it easier for him to topple the society,
right?
But it does sort of like in this mess, this chaos of everything that's going on, where it feels like, God, how the heck is he even going to do this? He does have a side quest. Let's call it that.
Yeah, a side quest. Yeah.
Kill the Jackal.
And what you were talking into chapter 30, House Diana.
This
1 month later.
I love the descriptions of the different types of the martial arts.
That is
because he's going to learn this cravat.
Yeah, and the use of the names like cravat that he starts learning from Cassius, which we're explained to is, this is how you fight with a straight blade.
The lack, maybe it's my lack of knowledge of Greek mythology, but
we got House Mars, House Minerva, House Diana. Like it seems a little out of place.
Diana Prince from
Diana
Princess Diana.
I think because it's a name, it's one of the names that has come down even to nowadays to be an acceptable name that's used, and so it feels common.
Diana.
I agree, but it's not.
It's
it is Greek. But I like that Darrow thinks that this is a bit flowery, that whole cravat and stuff, and it creates inner peace, which he doesn't need. So it's almost kind of a little bit of a knock on like karate or martial arts in some ways that looks to do inner peace. He's more of like your ultimate fighter. Like he's like just show me how to kill people.
Yes.
That's all I care.
I just want to point out here, I had to relook it up because I'm not as good as with the Romans off the top of my head as I am with the Greeks.
Yeah.
Diana is Artemis. Diana is the goddess of the hunt, and who is Apollo's twin sister.
Okay.
Okay. There we go. All right.
So they're going to try to form an alliance with House Diana?
No, they're going to take over House Diana.
But they want to form an
alliance. They formed the alliance to go after Minerva.
Again, the jackal. The jackal is this coalescing thing that everybody is worried about. So yeah, they're going to use that jackal or the worry of the jackal to try to form alliances, right?
And they have a new group, new tribe part of them called the Howlers now.
Yeah,
Howlers.
Several got some
because a bunch of the lower born and lower drafted have glommed onto Severo and gone, well, he seems to be doing some pretty cool stuff. I'm going to follow him around.
Yeah,
and so they all have to go out and kill their own wolf to get their pelt that they wear. And I have these wonderful, mind images here of just these, these augmented people, these golds, these chiseled people. And then there's the one group of them that's over there that's a little bit smaller than everybody else.
Yep.
But they're all wearing like bloody wolf pelts, like to where they don't have time to dry out the leather, so it's actually like drying and leathering. And
as they're wearing it, they have a constant smell.
Yeah, but I love as they're making these plans that Darrow knows that he's losing respect of everybody because he has to stand up to speak, before everyone will finally listen to him. And I like this again because it shows all of this inner struggle and that things are not just handed to Darrow. He kind of has to earn this, And I'm not throwing it back to anything else, but I mean, this is how you make plans. This is just real. It's just real organic. And what I like about this world, if your plan sucks, you die.
What are your characters die?
What are you going towards?
I don't know what I'm pointing towards.
Let's stop doing that.
So Severo at the end of 30 though tells Darrow that I know who you killed in the but I like you right now, so I'm not going to tell anybody.
Yeah,
and there's that moment of right now I'm not going to tell anybody. He doesn't say he's not going to tell anybody ever. It's right now because it suits my purpose.
I like how
we have Severo just scheming in his own little world over here that we never see, and I love that.
I like how when Darrow talks to Severo, how he talks about how all of the things that he's done, but it hasn't earned him one bar of merit.
Yeah, for sure.
And I kind of like this because you get this idea that Severo is this real workhorse. But it gets no due paid to him.
But you remember that's how it's decided by the proctors that are all watching all of this, who is technically the primus of the house, who's technically the lead or the dominus of the house.
Right.
There's the little digital wall in the castle that every good thing you do, it gives you bars next to your name and raises your name up the list.
Yep.
And Severo, like you said, Severo's been doing all this stuff, but he doesn't get any test scores back.
Yeah.
And they talk under the alliance with House Diana right now, with their two leaders, about how to make it so that Minerva falls.
Correct, because Minerva has bread and horses.
Right, exactly.
They have horses.
Isn't it Ceres that has the bread? It's all part of a dueling plan to get Minerva and Ceres at the same time.
That's right.
It's both, right?
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Okay.
They get the horses from Minerva.
Horses, Minerva,
the food
Ceres.
from
Minerva has the river.
Right. That's right.
Minerva has the river with the fish.
Yep. Mm-hmm. That's right. Always negotiate with food.
Tamara, their leader is Tamara, and agrees to an alliance. I actually, if there's one slow part, this part it felt a little slow.
It did.
And you know what? You know what? This is horrible. This feels like elves. And all of a sudden things feel slow to me. We're in this large forest of god trees. We have this kind of woodsy
Well, see, I like elves first of all. So,
we're at our mid-book elf slowdown, but it did feel slow to me.
Staple.
The elvish slowdown.
Yes. But it pays off so well when we finally invade House Minerva in chapter 31.
Oh, the fall of Mustang.
The three brothers.
Oh,
Thunder,
man.
lightning, and wind.
Yeah.
The nicknames they give themselves at the start.
And so, like,
Thunder, lightning, and wind.
Darrow comes out here. He challenges Pax to a one-on-one,
man.
so everybody can watch. And Pax just comes out, and it's and he keeps yelling his name every time in battle,
which I love. This would again
Pax. Oh, tell him August.
Yeah.
Pax. Oh, tell him August.
Was that one of the National Lampoon's movies? Was it O'Doyle Rules?
Oh, see, and I see it as I see it as completely like almost like a WWE thing.
Yes.
Where it's like if but Dave Bautista should play Pax.
Yes.
in the movie.
And I think it's too short.
It needs to be taller. You can fix that.
It's so funny because I was watching an interview with Pierce Brown where he was talking about how he is currently like on the 3rd version or 4th version as of a few months ago of the script to this movie. I'm like, well, that's got to be the easiest job ever. What do you even need to do to this book? I mean, there's hardly anything you need to change. All of that is just cinematic ready. It's just ready to go. The descriptions are there, and what's going on. I'm seeing this as a movie in my head more than almost anything else I've read. It's really good. Anything else you want to say about the fall of Mustang in this fight?
Yes.
Oh my God.
So we get the one-on-one. We get the one-on-one, and as everybody's paying attention to the one-on-one.
Oh, this is the best.
We have this moment where he's almost he's gonna beat Pax.
Yeah,
and he's gonna beat Pax with Pax's own axe.
Oh my God.
I just picture like even gold
Pax like axe.
even as a gold though, you have this picture of the great brute of Pax where Darrow actually talks like he almost looks obsidian.
Yes, right.
And so I always have this. I have this picture at this point of almost like regular sized Darrow, like hefting like this just giant axe,
like a David and Goliath scenario in some ways. It's just unbelievable.
He's got him on the ropes.
And then Neil. What part of the grand master plan comes
love
out here?
God,
Several, his howlers, and at least 5 members of House Diana cut their way out of dead horses that were put there in the night.
They sewed themselves into dead horses.
Oh, I love this.
Horse birth.
Sneaky.
I have written. I have this in my notes written. Just awesome. Awesome.
Disgusting.
But awesome. Yeah, again.
And I thought they smelled bad on the outside.
I knew there was going to be a Star Wars
Try hanging out inside of one all day.
But Mustang doesn't get caught. At the end of this battle, Mustang doesn't get caught.
No, she makes it out the back door
with the standard. So in the end, the standard is still there. Her house hasn't fallen.
Yeah, but it gets close, right? Vixus wants to humiliate her, but Darrow, we start to see these starts of this affection, right? Darrow sees her as Io, and he says Io didn't deserve death, and that Mustang shouldn't be bridled.
Right.
And I do like that use of words. It is on the nose, right? About how her name is Mustang and she shouldn't be bridled, but it works. It works for me, and I like it. It again, all of these emotions that I'm going through while reading this is exactly what I should be feeling in a novel. So we're on to chapter 32, Antonia.
Antonia, one of the leaders of the tribes of House Mars.
Just a raging bing.
Yes, I hate her.
I was trying to find a nice way to explain that. But
It could be a nicer way.
I understand. I like the character. I like the fact too that Brown writes in a strong female villainish character.
Yes, I do too. Yeah.
And it's the boys and the girls are all competing in this. It's not just the guys out there beating each other while the women, hide in the corner. No, Antonio's full into this.
Yeah,
full into all the political machinations and all of this different stuff that's going on. And she wants to be queen.
Exactly.
Dominia, whatever it happens to be.
I like that name.
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. But I am not Team Antonia. I will say that right now.
And I
hate her.
I hate her.
I love the character.
hate her as well.
Yeah. But I hate her.
And what I like here as well is
a very good villain.
Cassius and Darrow are becoming closer and closer friends to the point where Cassius is okay with Darrow becoming Primus because he sees him as a brother. And you know what? Again, the same thing Brown did with me with Io, knowing she's going to die, and I'm seeing dread with that. I'm like, I kind of love this relationship, and I know this isn't going to last.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I mean, he
like
killed his
brother needs to
Yeah.
betray brother, and I know this is going to happen. And I'm again dreading it because I like where these two
It is,
are
yeah.
at.
You know, I'm hoping it happens in book 2. Like, I'm hoping we get.
It's
through
tragedy.
This.
He's writing a Greek tragedy in a lot of ways here. You know?
So House Diana tries to do a little double cross here and take over.
That didn't work.
Take over House Minerva, but Darrow already saw it coming, so he's already got several in place to kind of drop their little coup that they were going to do.
Right.
And then we have the Antonia and Vixis here go after Darrow himself.
Right. Well, because isn't there a messenger? A messenger comes from the Jackal and says that they want Darrow, the Reaper, right, and they will give them 50 ion blades, which that will be like a huge, like,
not a bad deal.
That's a really good
but
deal.
But offers it to Cassius specifically. Goes to him instead of anyone else in the tribe.
Right. But it's Antonio, like you
and
said.
That's I think you're really starting to get this. You know, the Jackal is being favored in this.
Oh yeah,
he's got
everything.
50 ion blades. He
like,
has
where did he get that?
Yeah, he has
horses,
information.
He's got everything.
Yeah.
He has information on this tribe of House Mars.
He already knows that Darrow,
like,
and his name is the Reaper.
Yeah.
He's only been fighting in a small location.
Yeah, you get the feeling that the Jackal's map may not be covered up.
Yeah. He's in some ways a puppet master, right? Antonio, like you'd said though, Klob, ends up betraying Darrow, right?
I want to rewind.
Yeah.
You always want to rewind.
Shut up. It's because you guys go too fast for certain elements that need to be talked about later. Joe, deny it.
Settle down there, pup.
I'm going to keep throwing this cap at you every time. But
every time I think it's a drink chip.
You're welcome. Lilith does specifically do one thing during this meeting with Cassius. And she goes, here, this is for you. And throws him something. Which causes Darrow to start freaking out over it. What did she give him? What did she give him? What did she give him? Later, we're going to find out what this thing is because Darrow's going to send someone after it because he's worried about what it is.
This is a
which
really
is going to lead to a very big issue, I think, in the next chapter or one of the next coming chapters.
Yeah, it's coming up. Yeah,
I can see Klob is confused.
No,
which is I saw the look in his eyes.
I'm stopping myself from talking. I'm saying what it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then, like you said, there's some betrayal moments that start to come.
Right, exactly. Yeah, Antonia betrays Darrow, and she kills Leah.
Well, Darrow,
Roke goes missing.
She's got Roke's been missing. Yeah. We pretty much feel that Roke's dead here. We have Leah, who Antonio's standing there, and I'll kill her. Come out of hiding, or I'll kill her.
Yeah.
And Darrow has to force himself not to move and watch her throat be slit.
Ugh. Yeah, it's pretty brutal. Again, I keep saying this like every chapter. Oh, it's brutal. But
it's a great description of the gurgling of her trying to breathe through the blood and the blood dripping down. Wonderful description.
If there's one thing that I could say, what we could be doing in this is constantly reading snippets from this book because the way Brown writes some of this stuff,
super good.
It's so good. It's just so descriptive. It's unbelievable. Right. So we're dropping down to chapter 33. Apologies, right?
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh. Cassius finds out about Darrow and Julian.
From what specific thing?
No. Tell us.
What Lilith had given to Cassius was like a little video projection of Darrow in the passage killing Julian.
How does he get that?
I wonder how the son of the arch-governor would get something of that information.
Which I will tell you,
favoritism
on the first read through of this, things are happening so fast.
Oh yeah,
things are happening so that I am not the first read through piecing this together as boy, the Jackal has too much information. I am just viscerally just going, God dang you, Jackal! Like, how did you know this? Oh, right.
I'm thinking it's part of the game.
And it's on the second read through that I'm like, oh yeah. See, all of this is given to him.
I'm thinking it's part of the game, and why hasn't Fitchner stepped up and given his team some toys?
Yeah, and I'm kind of getting the read off of Fitchner like he's this old washed up drunk.
Yeah.
in some way that just
Like
doesn't.
Haymitch from the Hunger Games.
Yeah, and he's just hanging
Exactly.
around, and he doesn't really help out. He doesn't care. So I guess I'm pawning it off as that he's not. He just doesn't have anything to give because he's
And
washed
again,
up.
great juxtaposition here between we sewed ourselves into horses. We've been fighting with swords. We're fighting over cooks.
Yeah.
No.
But here's a hollow projector.
Yeah. Just right. Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
Which
and
is cool.
so we have
the duel between Cassius and Darrow.
We learned that Cassius runs in and is basically Darrow, we found Roke. Come with me. We have to go get him.
Yeah,
and so Darrow goes with him right away. Gets out of the castle. They're like halfway in the woods.
He knows.
Darrow goes, oh crap.
Yep, he knows. He knows, right? Oh man. And then we have the fight, right? And it's kind of no contest.
It's not fast.
No, not at all.
Done.
Yeah.
And just right in the gut, and all right, you deserve to bleed out.
Yep.
Die, and think about what you've done.
And that's where Cassius makes his mistake, right? Yep. He leaves Darrow to die, which is, your bad guy mistake number one.
I'm not going to call him a bad guy.
Well, he's not a bad guy, which is what I like. It's because we have this tragedy.
From his perspective.
It's a tragedy, so it's these passions, that play out.
And I'm going to say here, and I'm going to make reference to Shakespeare here, because of the fact that Cassius is very much a Mercutio character. He's the handsome guy who's got everything going on, and he understands what's happening, and he's a good fighter. Yeah. And oh my God, I just realized that Romeo is Tybalt.
Yeah,
I just realized that Romeo was the one who's wronged me, and so he makes it quick. Mm-hmm. He makes it quick to the dying, not to the death, but to the dying.
Yeah.
All right, I've done this. I'm sorry. I loved you, but this is what has to be done.
Right.
And he walks away, and I see him really as that tragic Mercutio character who doesn't really. He doesn't want to hurt people, but dag nabbit, if he has to, he's going to do his duty.
We were brothers, Anakin.
Yeah.
No.
I thought you were making any references.
The reason I'm bringing that up is because this is how you do a brothers who aren't brothers fight.
Yes.
And you bring in feelings. I mean, Pierce Brown, huge Star Wars fan, doing it better than the master himself. Yeah. Where he does this fight falling out of brothers, and there's so much gut-wrenching emotion here. I love it.
So we're left at the end of the chapter with Darrow bleeding out.
The end of part 3.
And again, all of these passages, a lot between parts, are deaths for Darrow. They're these deaths.
That's a good
passages.
It's deaths and reawakenings
and rebirth.
New ideas.
He is being rebirthed, right? And he's coming part 4 as the Reaper.
Cassius' story.
All right, on to part 4, the Reaper. Chapter 34, the North Woods.
Rebirth of the Reaper.
I like this. Darrow awakens in a cave. And again, like we talked about, I love these cycles of death and rebirth. And this for me, well, we'll get into it.
God, he's died a lot of times thinking about it now.
He does die a lot, right?
Yeah, he's died more than the
and we make
doctor.
we make time jumps with each of these too. It's not like he wakes up the next morning.
No,
right now it's been a month.
Right, because
They've
I
been
like
there
it.
a month,
Because what I like is Darrow has like these strong women figures that come into his life and counsel him or shepherd him through his passage to this new consciousness, right? So you have like Io who counsels him and then shepherds him through his death kind of into this being reborn into a new life where he finds out that he's a slave, right? And that's exactly what happens here, because it's almost like this institute is corrupting him, right? Like he's becoming what he hates, and Mustang then becomes the second sage on his journey, right? And she guides him through his second death in a frozen cave in the north, right? Where he emerges then as this warm leader of men. Right, I love these archetypes that are coming out in all of this,
and we have this. They get found,
but
at the cave they get found, and we.
Before he said that, can you right before he said, I love where Mustang tells him that he must live for more.
Oh yeah,
I'm reading it, and again I'm choking.
Yeah.
I choke when that happens. I love it.
He already sees her kind of as EO, and then that's just going to.
And she also sang the song though too. Early on, when he first is waking up, she sings the exact same song. Well, where'd you hear it? Oh, there's a little girl singing it from the projectors everywhere.
And as weird
It's
as
a little callback.
as weird as it might sound, this chapter 34 is one of my favorites in the entire novel. For whatever reason, and I have in my notes just written, this is his first novel.
Yeah.
What? Like this is crazy that this is his first, or at least the first one that's sold.
And we get some humanity here too, again from Darrow, he's been scheming, he's been lying, he's been doing all this stuff he needs to do to rise to the top. He was dead now. Cassie's pretty much killed him, and while he's healing in his unconsciousness, he can't help it because he's human. He talks in his unconsciousness and in the fever of in the fever of his thing. So when he comes out, and Mustang's like,
worried about
who's this woman you're talking about?
Yeah, he's worried about it.
And
right?
he's like, oh crap, how much do they say?
Right. No. I love how Mustang talks about society as these with the hand and the fingers, and what it directs and stuff. I love all of this.
Which was a great. I immediately thought of the Helldiver drill.
Right.
I agree. About the hand and the fingers and the
I agree.
Guiding.
Again, I feel like chapter 34 is kind of one of the most important chapters to slowly read through and really digest. The stuff that happens in it is really important to set up what's coming next.
A great way to start your final section of the volume, your final book.
Yeah.
A great way to set up, because we know we're in the last place here in the book. We know we're going to come up to the climax. Very strong way to start how we're going to roll into
and I know you guys kind of hate when I do this, but on the flip side, I love when I do this because this is what I kind of wanted in a lot of ways this podcast to be, is where we relate it to other things that have come, not just constantly
Star Wars or Alien.
It's gonna be Star Wars, but I'm gonna throw it out because I feel it's justified, because I'm telling you, Pierce Brown comes out as saying he is this huge Star Wars fan who has read all the books, digested all of the movies and cartoons and comics. I mean, he is as steeped in it as me. So when I read this scene, I see this in some ways, and again, I don't get bogged down in it, but this is his Dagobah scene, right? Like Mustang is the sage, and she is dying, like Yoda does, right? And he leaves her in the cave and comes out, and Fincher is a ghostly Obi-Wan that appears with his ghost cloak.
You just ruined my image of Mustang now.
Well, in some ways he is, right? Because he's cloaked when he first arrives, right? And there's all these revelations, and he's set forth on this last bit of the journey. And again, I know you guys sometimes roll your eyes at this, but I'm telling you, this is when and it's kind of irritating because this is the kind of stuff that goes into Pierce Brown's mind when he's writing this book. Yeah. He is going along the hero's journey, and these archetypes that were used by George Lucas and other writers are the same ones he's going to on this. All the hero's journey of putting things down and taking it back up, the mantle of of your responsibility, right?
Well, and it's a George Lucas thing. It's to go back.
And George Lucas is just robbing it from,
since we're talking, since we're so steeped here in Greek myth with Roman names and everything else, it's the Hercules journey.
Right.
From Greek myth. It's all this. I've done bad things, but there's a reason for it.
Right. Exactly.
I want to, just because we're nearing that end of the chapter spot here, and you brought up Obi-Wan Fitchner.
Yeah.
We talk about how
Fitchker-Wan Kenobi.
There's no help really from any of the proctors, but we get into what the proctors are doing on Olympus. And we find out the rules of the proctors. Once your house is gone, you have to leave.
Right.
And it leads to Darrow realizing and being told from Obi-Wan Fitchner that there are two specific houses and proctors that don't like him. Apollo and Jupiter. So the mind is scheming, the plan is happening.
Yeah, because these veils it's like they keep being unveiled before him, right? And this is in this book, his final death.
Correct.
Where he is being revealed, the final reveal, which is, your fight is not against the Jackal. It's against something even bigger, right? That you're part of an even larger game.
And we learn more here too about the other proctors. And I like too how Brown, the proctors are the gods. I mean, they're on Olympus, but the proctors have distinct personality traits of the ancient Greek gods.
Right. Yeah.
Fitchner is Mars, Fitchner is Ares. Distinct traits that he has. Jupiter's traits are there. Apollo's trades are definitely there,
right? Yeah,
and for what we for who we see and how we go through that, and I like the weave in of that, and it's the weave in of this society as you learn like later too, and it's not spoilers, but as you learn in later books, it's the weave in of this is our future, this is Earth's future,
right?
And the bits and pieces from the past that they've taken and really bastardized into their culture,
right. Yeah, I really like it.
And even from, not knowing too much about Greek mythology, Roman history, not even knowing that, I'm still enjoying this. Just the fact that, like, the Proctors have all these different personalities, and he's really being able to nail them down and, like, okay, I see what's going on here.
Right, and I think it speaks again to Pierce Brown in his writing, that he can write a book that you can take right on top as it is, come as it is, right? And if you want to dig down, though, everything is connected to something,
and the
legit.
The humanity of it too, where everybody's crooked.
We have,
including Darrow. We have no pristine good person.
No, I agree.
Everybody's crooked. Everybody. The teachers are taking bribes here for the grades and to help out the different students.
Right, exactly.
And nothing is good. Nothing is pure good.
Right. So they set about this last part of the plan now, right? So chapter 35, the Oathbreakers. Darrow sets about recruiting a bunch of the Oathbreakers. An entire army made up of these Oathbreakers, right?
The Shamed.
The Shamed.
So now, real quick here, despite the fact they're rejoining this new army, will they still be shamed when they're out?
I don't know. I don't know what they
broke
think.
it in general.
Yeah. I don't
Does that
know.
lead to automatic shame?
I feel like they think that they can win back in some ways glory.
That could be, but I think
they
broke the rules of the game.
True.
The game at large.
So maybe that's why they are so. Hey, we'll take Mount Olympus because we have nothing left to lose.
Well, and when we find out that the winners or the people who do well within the game essentially are going to get apprenticeships,
right,
with the higher houses. Yeah. So if you're I think the idea here is, well, if you are an Oathbreaker, you can still redeem you're not going to redeem yourself back to the top,
right?
But you can still redeem yourself to the point where maybe you will get a sponsor for some lower position later. Right. Whereas if you didn't do anything right now, you're just screwed when you get out of here.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. What I like is they get packs back, right? Which I love, because then it sets up. What I like is just visually that Pierce sets up a really nice looking group. A very kind of diverse people. You've got kind of Darrow and Mustang, and the images it creates in your head as far as, Pax is this big, huge, lumbering guy. It's a movie poster that's happening in your head. You can see them all coming at the screen with big Pax in the back, and, the other guys.
It's a weird Justice League.
Pax would be in the front.
Yeah. Little Severo in the front, like Rocket Raccoon.
Oh my god! I already said Batista.
No. Pax is totally Groot because he only says his name.
Pax. We are Pax. I love all this, and I like that Darrow has a really good grasp on what he needs to do, because he's like, my rise to the top needs to be meteoric. Because they're going to get wind of this, and the Proctors will step in and take this.
And the first place he goes is back to Castle Mars.
Right.
And
he needs to set up his house.
Reset his house back in order. Put his house back in order.
You're right.
Leaves to create further knowledge that he's back, and starts carving sling blades everywhere.
I love this.
Makes them, and God, right here at the end it talks about Severo, and I'm like, God, where is Severo at? I mean, where is he hiding? Right. He's not back in the bushes again. I don't think.
Guy.
But I love how aware.
Great rebel propaganda too was starting this whole with the larger than life thing.
Right. I was going to say he's so aware of what he needs to do. He knows it's got to be meteoric, and he's going to create a myth out of himself. So he's going to carve these Reaper blades.
And somebody they all know is dead.
Yeah,
and I really don't think he was thinking about creating the myth. He was just the first one he carved. He was just so ticked off that he's like, "I'm gonna sign this."
Right.
Yeah. I just came in here and kicked butt. I'm gonna sign this.
But by the end, I think he says, "I must become a myth."
Yes.
I think,
But he didn't start out.
He
that
didn't
way,
start out that
which
way.
I
no.
like.
Yeah. And so we're on to chapter 36, a second test. Which it feels like this whole book has been test after test. So I don't know.
Well, that's the game.
right, exactly. But Darrow needs the ovens, right? Because an army
stomachs.
Army walks on its stomach, right? So he needs the ovens of Ceres. Again, everything about
Which
this
is a great Napoleon reference.
Oh God, everything about this seems just so spot on.
Explain that.
You know,
as in Napoleon Bonaparte.
Yeah.
As in that.
That's what he says.
That's where it comes
that's
from.
His,
that's where the army walks on his stomach.
Okay.
That's where that comes
I thought
from.
there was a thing where you took over a place with a bunch of ovens.
Also.
No, that's.
I don't remember that.
That's a Napoleon Bonaparte quote. As an army moves on its stomach.
Yeah, you get this army that is primed to love him, right? Because they are the scorned, right? They are the people who society now has thrown away. He creates a myth out of himself. Now he's got the food to back his army. I'm like, everything he's doing is kind of flawless. You know, it's I really love this.
And a sling blade.
He has very good ideas, but like up until this point, like he has totally earned it.
Yeah, right.
Like it's not just he's not just perfect just because.
Yeah.
I mean, he is smart. We do know that, but you know what? He's lost.
Right. And he has everybody in his army now wearing wolf cloaks, which I get.
Except Pax.
Except for Pax,
because there's not one big enough.
There's not one big enough.
With a weird little hat.
Pax is still, Pax is just running.
Little Robin Hood hat of a wolf on top.
Which the wolf cloak. I will say again, this is a Hercules thing.
Yep. Yeah.
Even though it started by Severo, Hercules' army and Hercules was always known for wearing the lion cloak.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And what I love here is how aware Darrow is. He even says that when he is tearing apart society, he says that all of these people will remember getting a compliment from him. Like he's going around complimenting everybody. He's becoming their leader, and he wants to build such a rapport with them that even when he is dismantling their society, that they'll be proud to have served with the man who is ripping apart their society.
It makes sense.
I love that.
It makes sense because he's not going to. Well, he could kill them.
Right.
But he's not going to, and they're going to serve underneath him now.
And he still needs allies when he gets to his next stage.
Yeah,
so he's really saying himself right now. Yeah.
Very tactical.
And the climax of this entire chapter 36 then to drive this whole thing is Tactus tries to rape a slave, and Darrow has him whipped and
25 lashes.
Yeah. And then what does Darrow do?
He takes them as well.
From
Pax.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that terrifies me.
And this idea of
your strong guy.
Your mistakes are my mistakes. It's my fault that you are under me. I should have seen this coming.
Yeah.
It's my fault that it's partly my fault that you did this because I didn't stop you in the beginning.
Right.
Yep.
And so therefore I must take your punishment with you, and just rallies everybody to the oh my God.
Yep. And I'm gonna
he actually cares about it.
I'm gonna set aside the fact that he seems way wiser beyond his years. At this point, he's about 18, is what we are told, and he seems way wiser than he should be about this. But this is beautiful. If I throw that out of my mind, this is exactly what he needs.
But
to
you have to remember the culture he came from.
Oh,
you have to remember,
and what he's been through already.
Yep. And you have to remember the things within the Red culture of. Going all the way back to his father's death and Eo's death, and the family has to help pull down and break the neck during the executions. And so everybody hurting when one person does something is directly from the Red. It's something he's grown up with all his life.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And for the reference now where we're at, he has House Minerva on his side. They've just taken House Ceres. Yeah. And Diana's with him as well because of Tactus and all of them, correct?
Right, yes.
As far as I right now, he's got 3 out of 12.
Yes.
9 more to go.
So we head south.
Yes,
right?
To Jackal.
Yeah, turns from Apollo. The Jackal must fall. They ride south. They have a confrontation with the army of Apollo.
This is pretty ballsy.
Holy
cow! This is totally Tombstone. You tell him I'm coming, and I'm bringing hell with me.
I know. Again, he knows his rise. He knows his rise must be meteoric, so he's not wasting any time.
It was just kind of like who was kind of set up to be the big baddie.
Yeah.
You know,
and I love how Tactus becomes like his scout now.
I wrote Tactus. Do I like? Question mark?
Do I like?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I agree.
Right now.
Sorry, I tried to rape that girl.
Yeah,
and I don't. But I don't
now
know.
I'm with you at all times.
But I don't know if it's. I don't know with Tactus if it's sorry I tried to rape the girl or sorry I got caught.
Or
yeah, and I agree.
Do I like? I don't know.
So I'm gonna do what I can now for this. I'm gonna do what I can because again, in the society, remember, it's all about elevating your position for you. It's very selfish.
Right.
So I think Tactus sees Darrow's on the rise here, and therefore he's going to align himself so that he can follow along with with Darrow on this rise. I don't trust him yet.
Yeah.
Right. And I've also got to praise in chapter 37 the restraint that has been shown with the relationship between Darrow and Mustang. Like they're in that.
Yes, we haven't gone high school.
Yeah,
we haven't gone high school musical with this.
Yeah. Yes.
Have you seen High School Musical, Club? Because I haven't even seen High School Musical.
I have seen High School Musical.
What? So, I guess it's a musical. Okay, no.
I'm the
favorite. I'll let it go.
But I mean, they've been in the cave together. There's been plenty of opportunity for their relationship to escalate towards Bootsy.
Stupid, unnecessary romance. Too.
But it hasn't, and so she's always been kind of flitting around the edges as this potential love interest that I think by this point we're starting to really root for.
Yeah.
But we've needed that time to get over a really strong character, which was Io, and even now Mustang is ready for a relationship, is flirting with Darrow, tells him to like lay with me, like we did in the cave, but he doesn't.
And I would have been so upset had they jumped.
The cave could have been big old makeout.
Yes.
Yeah. And it wasn't,
had Brown here jumped into the I'm going to give him a new lover, and he's going to take it.
Yeah.
Because remember, the whole reason he signed up to be carved and do all this, he's still doing this for Io.
Yes.
And
it would cheapen that relationship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, something so powerful would have just been.
Yeah. So again, praise for not taking this relationship where I think other people might have.
And which scares me about the screenplay.
Yeah. Studio execs, get out of the way.
And we start leading to there's a bit of sabotage going on their way south because of Apollo, who Proctor Apollo. I'm keeping things censored here, so I'm not going to say anything else on him.
You don't need to.
No, I don't want to be bleeped. But
okay.
Apollo, he goes
sabotages,
makes him lose. No, I don't. I'm past the part of the spoilers, but makes them lose all the horses, so they lose the ground approach, and then. Oh, Darrow, do you want to come with me? Mustang starts calling him one night to follow along. Come with me.
Yeah.
That'll be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Apollo in a disguise.
Well, and I like the reality here, too, going into that beforehand, because the Proctors aren't perfect.
Nope.
And the Proctors aren't perfect, but the Proctors aren't perfect in, like, even their watching. Because even though they're invisible...
Right.
There's still going to be signs from the grav boots, and I love the reality of that. I love the reality of
something is going to key them off.
Yeah, the fact that you can't. There are certain things you can't. You're not magically just perfectly invisible.
Right. Well, couldn't he see the grav boots, and couldn't he see the snow or something off the dome?
Yeah,
or he shakes the snow off the trees and he can see it around the dome.
Yeah, you can see it around the dome. But earlier, Tactus had noticed that. There's basically there's marks in the snow, where the Proctors were following.
No, that reality is really good.
I like the reality,
which is good. Yeah, that's where this becomes sci-fi and not fantasy.
Correct.
Yes, I agree. No. And again, if you're going with this reality, like you think, oh, he's going to get Apollo, but nope, and then Apollo's on the branch next to him, pushes him off, and this giant cave bear, it's a carved bear attacks him. So it's
crazy cool.
Going back to how. They keep making the references to Hunger Games and the whole, you were going where I was, Club.
Yep.
Where at the end of Hunger Games, they never really bring it into the movie, where the dogs that happen at the end, they're actually mutations of the former.
Yeah, they're made. They're made to be.
They're
bad
made,
things.
So they're making this bear just very, very similar to that. And that was my thought.
Well, and I get that in Hunger Games because like the audience it was aimed at, that is a little messed.
And actually, it's kind of funny that you might bring that up because I did find this carved bear not necessary to anything that happens. It's
not. But
it's
just
cool. No, the biggest thing that I found this necessary to what happens is that
okay, but Daryl barely saves himself from the bear.
Right.
We have this whole trap that they had set up earlier for people coming at them or whatever it was.
Right.
Kills the bear.
Yep.
I found this necessary because Pax finally got a cloak.
There you go.
That was the entirety. I
need to get Pax a cloak.
I completely felt that Pierce Brown wanted to figure out a way to give the gigantic Pax a cloak after he had mentioned it. So now we have a bear that they've killed. So now we have something. We have a hide big enough for Pax.
And who comes back to save Daryl? He's caught in this trap as well.
Severo.
One-eyed Severo.
And he's
one-eyed Severo.
Yeah,
one-eyed Severo.
Yes.
Because he's the one-eyed demon.
Now,
that Darrow's been warned about, right?
Yep. Which is a complete reference to Norse myth.
Right. Yes.
It's a complete Odin reference because Odin gave up his eye to gain more knowledge. Severo gave up his eye to gain more knowledge.
And we gain more knowledge.
Cool. Yeah.
We gain more knowledge because
that was good.
The proctors are able to see everything through rings. Through the rings that they are wearing, right? The house rings, and so they take. Darrow has them all talk with their rings off, right? He takes them all off, and I like this because this becomes a thing again that they'll use.
And we find more about a bunch of the different houses that Mercury is basically gone.
Right.
There's just a bunch of them left roving around.
Right.
And that the Jackal went after House Vulcan earlier, and that's what led to the whole myth that started with the Jackal.
Right. And we're also we're introduced to technology that we need to know about for the climax here. There's jam fields, right? That they can push around, that fall around a certain area, and no sound can leave it. The other proctors can't hear what's going on, and so Proctor Apollo uses one of these.
Mm-hmm. And I love the plans that Darrow has plans for all of this.
Yeah, exactly.
And it really harkens back to some, sci-fi and fantasy archetypes here too, where you have the lead character, and the lead character's talking to one of the villains, and he's talking to one of the villains, and finally the villain looks at him and goes, what are you talking about? Nothing. But I wanted to keep you here where my friends went and kicked your friend's ass.
Yeah. And that's exactly what happens. Yeah. And I love it. There are continuous times throughout this book where I am just like, giddily almost like, woo! Like, yes! Because
I was reading this section, and Luke, you talked about being audible earlier.
Yeah.
From a book. I was reading this section in a restaurant having dinner by myself. Yes, I'm that guy. Sitting reading a book and having dinner by myself. And when Daryl finally oh yeah, by the way, your house is gone.
Yeah.
To Apollo, I went, ha! And there's 4 people in the restaurant turned and looked at me because I'm like,
Yep. And my actual audible burst is coming later. A few chapters down is where I finally let out an audible thing.
So House Apollo falls.
House Apollo falls.
House Apollo falls, which means Proctor Apollo is supposed to have to leave.
Supposed to. And in 39, the Proctor's Bounty, we find out from...
Well, wait, before we get there, there's one thing I wanted to touch on, which I love, and this is one which almost makes me yell when we get to. Darrow is standing on the battlements as the Proctors are hovering because he's taken House Apollo, and he's just shouting at them, Jupiter, you are next. Now he's coming for Jupiter, and I just love him.
Coming for you.
He is so ballsy, and I just love this guy. I love Darrow.
Right? And I believe he calls him a piece of dog dirt.
Yes, he does. That's in my notes.
You piece of...
I don't know why I'm censoring anymore because we've been throwing stuff up. But yeah.
Because not only you mentioned the jam field, because not only can the outside world not hear into the jam field, you don't get information from outside either.
Right, exactly.
Which I like because that's how a jam field would work.
It should work that way, right? Yeah.
That should be the technology.
It's just some weird electromagnetic resonance that's no in, no out.
Right, exactly.
And then we get to 39, the Proctor's Bounty, where we find out Apollo hasn't left. He's still staying on Olympus.
And then I like because Finchner appears and asks Darrow to stop, right? Because big reveal, Severo is his son. Correct. And he doesn't want him to get hurt and all this. And again, this is all a game. For placement later.
Which I never saw.
I didn't see this coming.
There was one spot earlier where Darrow did make a comment, and I had marked it down, where he makes a comment about, "Guy, you're just like Severo. All these comments, jokes and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
That was about it.
I didn't even
thought
catch
it, but
that.
I didn't
it was
catch it either. That's good.
Well, I just saw it again here when I was flipping through. I'm like, oh wait, I had that somewhere. But otherwise, there was no.
Yeah,
hints or
but yeah,
anything.
it does like on the tail end of it makes sense.
And what I love about this is Finchner, again, kind of being jerky, is like, like he loves his son, but Severo is smaller and weaker, he thinks. And that, Darrow, you make him think that he can be more than he can be. Like he needs to reset his expectations.
Place in society.
Yeah, he needs to accept his place in society. I love this because everybody around Darrow still sees things in terms of society's structure, and Darrow has now, like, totally switched. He is looking to destroy it all, and so it sets up this really cool kind of dichotomy.
And we get this
characters.
information, and we've gotten some information leading through this as well, that one of the reasons they set up jam fields on things is the important people, the important golds in the outside world are watching all of this.
Yeah, right.
To see who they want to sponsor.
We find out that above the Proctors, there's yet another group of people that can pull the plug on everything as well, right? Which, again, they'll play to him as well. But the end of chapter 39.
Yeah, you take it.
This is the place where I was just like, oh my God, Darrow grabs.
I love this scene.
Grasps Finchner's hand really tight in a handshake, and then he just punches him in the face.
Haven't we all had those teachers we wanted to punch in the face?
Oh man! And again, this book, I wouldn't say that it's constantly shifting on you, but Darrow is such a not playing by the book, and there's the publishing world is full of books who try to aspire to do this, constantly shifting the paradigm in the book and making things come out of nowhere. This book truly feels viscerally on a really emotional level, like things happen that you don't see coming, and in a cool way, right? And again, I'm just like, oh my God, yeah. And something that I wasn't thinking of is instantly brought to light, like, oh, he's punching out Finchner because he's going to take his grav boots, and
I never even thought about.
Yeah,
I just figured he was taking Finchner out of the equation.
Right? Yeah. See, and I'm instantly, it's like, oh yeah, and Darrow has plans, and like they're coming to me as he's doing them as well.
Or
oh my God,
I just figured he was taking him out of the equation, and for whatever reason that he had, protecting Finchner, really.
Right? Yeah.
To show that he's
that
doing
was
it
more.
on his own.
I never saw the grab boot thing coming.
Oh, really? Yeah, I figured
we'll get there.
Yeah.
We're going to get there. So, chapter 40, Paradigm. Jupiter's fallen.
Jupiter's fallen, and we get Lucian.
Yeah, right.
We get Lucian, the Jupiter's slave, as he's talking to the slaves about, I have former slaves have done this for me, and I've freed them. If you do other things, if you capture houses for me, I will free you as well.
Right. And actually, we'll talk about chapter 40 and 41 just as one continuous chunk.
Yeah, it is.
Before we get too in-depth into that part, where I know what we're going to lead to.
Yeah.
Going back to our age of discussion from last time, just a quick thought here. On one of the pages, he talks and says, I'm 18 by Earth metrics. So my question is, I was waiting between the last time we recorded and now, does that mean, since he's always been underground, that the Reds they have an artificial time? Where it's set as an actual Earth schedule?
I would.
That's how I
would
read it.
imagine.
As something like that.
Because they have no sun.
Because they have no sun, so it's set as a 24-hour day, and they keep it that way.
So it's set as an Earth
So they
metric.
make it so it is an Earth metric no matter what, because the culture of the golds in society
Because that way
is that high advanced.
Yeah. Because that way you don't have to remember time zones essentially for your slaves.
Right.
You don't have to. You keep the one set unit of measurement.
They're all on
for
Earth
your
time.
slaves.
Yeah.
They're on Earth time.
And again, before we get into this whole spot, there's another time moment that I just had now.
Yeah.
Okay, so end of 39, he just knocks out Finchner.
Right.
Now he's traveling through a blizzard. How much time would you say it takes to travel through this blizzard to get where they're going? I mean, it talks about they travel very slowly. It's probably taking them days and stuff.
Yeah, if you're walking, yeah.
So my question is, and he still had the ring on at that time.
Yeah.
Why did the Proctors never go to get Finchner?
Because none of them liked Finchner.
Yeah, they don't like Finchner.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's a good
But
call.
some of them do. Minerva likes him.
Is Minerva still there?
She is still there because Mustang and the rest
But
of them
she
are
doesn't.
there.
She doesn't have the power that the rest of them have, and they're all infighting right now because Apollo's still in the house.
But
and
she
so
could
they're
still
making all
go
those
on
decisions.
her own and just whoop, whoop, It just right now,
We found a hole.
leading towards where we're going, the time is really starting. Just thinking of it now, the time is starting to seem a little off to me.
Yeah,
and
I never got a feeling for time.
Even
here.
though
I was going
even though Fisher and Minerva
here.
flirt at the beginning,
Yep.
Yeah.
I always got the feeling anytime you had the Proctors together, that it was almost like Fitchner was the lowborn teacher.
Yeah.
Where a lot of them didn't really feel that he was supposed to be there anyway.
Right, I agree.
You're not supposed to have this job.
Yeah, right.
You don't come from the right family.
Yeah, I never. The end of this book is just like boom, boom, boom.
I never thought about a time gap being there. I never.
The pacing at the end here is really one of my big issues. That all this build up, and then this last whole section of stuff is very short and very quick.
Yeah, the pacing.
Where there's
and
the pacing
175 things happen.
And that's really my one big issue right now is it goes so fast and time gets jumped over. I mean, it took us a month at one point just to get where
for him to wake up in a cave.
I mean, it's going very quickly.
I guess I'm going to counter all of that and say that I don't see any time problem with these last few chapters. I feel like it's all happening consecutively.
It might be there, but I didn't notice.
I didn't notice it.
Too much
and like Darrow said, my rise must be meteoric. I am more than happy with the fact that the last few chapters, a lot happens in a very compressed amount of chapters. It makes me feel like that rise is like I've been building and building, and that clock has been winding and winding, and the spring just pops at the end, and everything instantly just culminates. I
will agree with Neil here a little bit, just because the time jumps did bug me at points.
See, I guess I'd have to read back through it. Is there time jumps? I don't know that there are.
Here's why. Mostly because I felt that more should have happened outside of the main characters. Like more should have happened in the game.
Right.
Outside of like the month that Darrow was unconscious and bleeding in the cave.
Yeah, I hear that.
I feel there should have been more in the game that should have happened. It seems like everybody was just sitting around waiting.
True.
And
yeah.
Going back to that time jump here, and this is why when they do get Fitchner back and bring him up from he keeps him in the dungeon of Apollo.
Yeah.
For the reference point here, he's still bruised from all this. It's days later, and the bruising is still there.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it's a broken
you ever
nose.
Been headbutted in the face?
But they're golds. They're golds. It shouldn't be noticing all the things. They heal a lot faster, is the way it seems. Healing doesn't take very long for them unless there's medbots. And if a proctor gets hurt, why would a medbot not be coming that? Why would one not come for them?
Yeah.
Well, maybe he just turned on the jam field around the dungeon.
Yeah,
maybe.
But
we
still,
do have to speculate.
Yes.
There would
No,
still be the
recording
like
I said, I agree with you.
and that's the thing. And it
that
just starts. I understand why he needs.
But weren't they in a jam field when he did it because he's telling him about his son? I thought that he had.
When he did it, but not after he threw him in the prison.
Yeah.
I suppose not.
And ring is still on. I mean, they can't hear. The ring would be recording right in this room. As an example, it's not outside of it.
It couldn't get out though.
That being said, there was some stuff that I felt like maybe I don't know. I guess trying to hand the book.
We got to chapter 39 before we're like, hey, we got problems.
We got to do it though. Yeah, and I don't know that I do because I feel like some of this has come up. We've already been teased that Darrow knows about the rings and how they can record things. So now I'm kind of left with okay, if there's things that he wouldn't want the proctors to see, we don't need to hear about it. I'm just left to think he's obviously hiding the ring in some way, taking the ring off.
Maybe the jam field affects the ring.
That Darrow, we and Darrow are now smart enough. Now we know about this stuff and that he's manipulating it outside of what's being written. Yeah. But I'm giving the book that.
Yeah, very good point, Neil. But we should.
Yeah, let's let the rest of our thing be meteoric.
Hey, you know what's odd? I can't find a Pluto.
It's terrible.
I can't find a Pluto.
So so we have this house. We've taken House Jupiter. He's talking to the slaves. We have this one dude named Lucian, who is just described as this small, scrawny, unassuming kind of weaselly guy.
Yeah, I like all this. But then we get through all that. We find out he is the Jackal, right?
Which I love how it's revealed that he's the Jackal.
We did it in the opening, right? And stabs the Jackal through the hand, pins him to the table, right? And I love this conversation. Again, a lot of this needs to be read to be really appreciated, you know, with the conversation that ensues here. I love it. It's almost a Hannibal Lecter moment in some ways.
Sorry, I was just remembering a real important thing there that will come up later.
Yes.
That when they're talking with him, that everyone is acting drunk.
Yes.
They're acting drunk because they all drank juice.
Grape juice.
Except there's one person who could have seen through this whole plan, and that's Mustang.
Yeah, Mustang
She
walks
comes
in
in
and sends her away.
and looks, and he goes, nope, I got it. You should go. You should go.
Yeah, go back up.
Go back. Yeah. And she's thinking, well, wait, there's something you should know, though, but nope, help Pax.
And I love this because she doesn't know this. He's betting everything on the trust she has for him.
Correct.
Which I kind of love.
Which is a whole big, which gives us a whole big WTF moment here in a few minutes.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, well, let's do it. Say it. What is it?
No, we're not there yet.
We're not in that chapter yet. We're still where they have
that's a couple chapters on.
Yeah, okay.
We're still aware. Sees them having this conversation,
drunk on grape juice,
and he sends her out.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
And it's I'm gonna give it the beginning of chapter 41.
Yeah.
He jerks his hand. He jerks back his hand. He is fast. I am faster.
Yeah.
so
held ever arrow is back.
Three short sentences. So cool.
Yeah. Again. It was. Yeah. I'll get to it. My final thoughts. But the jackal saws his hand off of this knife, which is just. And we find out that he's still being helped. A cloaked proctor appears, and a thermal detonator goes on.
But before that, he kills Pax.
I know Pax died.
No. Yeah. No, it's the other way around.
It does happen, but yeah.
Yeah, no. The detonator goes off. Everybody is thrown. Pax throws himself onto Darrow. It's reversed order here, guys. And the jackal then digs his way through the back of Pax, trying to get to him. It's just awful. Because I love Pax, and I thought if you were to tell me, I don't know, when we met Pax, I'm like, well, he's through the trilogy. Pax is a trilogy.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Pax is through the trilogy until we get that tearful moment.
Yeah,
something's gonna happen. Where he's actually reveals himself, where he actually finally reveals himself as a Red, and we have the moment of Pax's like heartbreak. Where, what do I do? What do I do?
I would have never thought Pax was gonna die.
But we get this chapter 41. Holy cow! This power struggle in conversation form.
Yeah,
I mean it's
so
good. Lucian doesn't really have. Like it's just the way it's very subtly there. Like he doesn't really even care.
No,
his hand is stabbed to the table. He knows how tough he is now. He could just rip it right out.
Yeah,
but I know I've won.
But he just wants the satisfaction of being of buying Darrow.
Yeah,
my father can give you this. My father can give you that. You want an army of pinks to screw?
Yeah, yes.
My father can give you that.
I've already won. What are you doing? This is also superfluous. I've already won.
Yeah. Why are we struggling? Why are we doing this?
He just wants that satisfaction. It's just a power struggle.
Yeah, I love it.
He is a psychopath.
Right? Yeah, he really is.
And Brown does a very good job after the thermal detonator goes on. Right. That I can feel the cinematic scene here.
Oh,
where it's that ringing and it's kind of that slow motion with the trails going by as everybody's
shell shock.
Oh,
shell shock. Yeah, no, I hear it too. And the jackal escapes, and they pursue him into the drifting snow. And boy, this scene as well. It's just one awesome scene after.
Stupid Apollo.
Apollo. He's got a pulse fist, right? I
hate him.
Which I love the pulse fist.
I love this idea.
The description of the pulse fist is wonderful. Because it's a great weapon. It's a great weapon. It's something that we've seen before in a few other things.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, any sort of augmented fist brings me to Fallout 3, Fallout 4. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a hydraulic fist that you can just punch enemies with, and it's hilarious to do in the game.
Brings me to Avengers 2 when Iron Man is beating Hulk.
Or Shocker from Spider-Man.
Shocker from Spider-Man.
Oh yeah,
there we go. Yeah.
I'm trying. I can't even think of what the movie is right now, but it's one of those movies where the guy has the electric fists, but they keep going out, so he's got to like bang them together, and then it gets the electric spark coming over it.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. I don't know why I can't remember.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Somebody tell us.
But there's somebody else say it.
Let's keep going.
So we're going through.
But we say that he says that he's got to lose, otherwise he will ruin Mustang, right? Because he has Mustang.
Oh yeah, this is the grab boot part where he has him.
Yeah. So yeah. We should say Apollo grabs Darrow by the hair, pulls him up into atmosphere, and says, "I'm going to drop you, and we're going to ruin Mustang." And Darrow pretty much loses his stuff, right? And
So
this
cool.
is what I love, because Apollo thinks he's won. He's like, "Well then, forget you. Let's go of him."
He lets go of him, and he doesn't move.
He doesn't move because he's got grab boots on, and then he stabs him with this ring
the
four
knife
times.
ring.
The knife ring 4 times in the face, like into the nose, where it says cutting upwards, he's just into his eye. He's just jamming.
And this was, I think, this was second place for the scene we wanted to do for this episode. But it was too much action, and we are scrubs. You know,
right?
We can kind of throw on voices every once in a while and make some cool.
Well,
scenes,
and if you, without the visuals, it would sound like a lot of whirring and whooshing and stabbing.
Flap, flap, flap.
Flap, yeah.
Probably not what we want to do.
Yeah, I just
so
love
cool.
it.
So I
and he
love that
lands. What I love, he lands in front of the Howlers, right?
Because of course Severo's there.
Yeah,
of course
he is. Of course,
Severo's
always loyal.
I had your back.
And it should be said,
fight on the ground. Come on.
That was the feel I got when they got down there with Severo. Was like, well, I wanted to help.
Right. And it should be said now, Darrow's entire army now knows that all the suffering and everything else that they have gone through, the Proctors have done this. Right? So when he lands, he says, "We now take this war to Olympus." And they're instantly behind him. We are.
And
now take his armor off and give it to me.
Yeah. Yes. And it is at this point in the book that I am just like going nuts. Like if I had a sling blade, I would be following Darrow to Olympus.
I remember, a couple years ago when I first read this. This was a very late night for me.
Yeah.
I feel like was it? Oh man, I feel like I rocked through part 4 of this book.
It goes quick.
Yeah. And I started late. I'm a slow reader. The next day at work was real hard. totally worth it.
At the end of this, I feel like when you're 8 or something and you read something, or usually watch something on TV like wrestling or something, and you'd have to pause it because you had to go run around the house outside. You're like, woo! Like you grab something and run around the house. That's how I felt at the end of this chapter. Like I needed to put the book down and run around the house or go lift a weight or something.
You've gone into the cupboard. You've ripped all the wrapping paper off the tube, and you've come back to the living room. I have a sling blade.
The girls are standing on the porch looking at me like, "Dad, what are you doing?" And I'm running around the house with a lightsaber. I'm taking Olympus.
And not to leave you guys out of this. Like the last time something like this had happened to me was like in college. A big problem I had was I had Netflix. I just discovered the show Prison Break.
Oh, love Prison Break.
But man, that is such like a cliffhanger at the end of an episode show, and there were so many nights I stayed up until like 4 a.m. just like.
Oh, I gotta watch the next one.
I gotta. You can't leave me on that. I can't go to bed now.
I'm just gonna start it. I'm just gonna start the next chapter.
Yeah. I'm just gonna start. I'm just gonna.
4 chapters later.
What year is it? But yeah,
let's blaze through the last 3 chapters. 42, War on Heaven. Darrow takes on Olympus, and to me, actually, these last 2 chapters, a lot happen, but a lot of it doesn't necessarily matter. You know, like it's just like he is just running through halls and fighting and taking Olympus, and it really
is cool.
It's what I would like. It's just this epic orgy of fighting where you're just like,
I would have used a different word.
Well, that's what I'm going to use because it's just like things are flying everywhere, and it doesn't really matter who's fighting who necessarily.
And images of him stomping down the hall, and the Proctors that are caught off guard. He's just like, screw it, tie him up and throw him in the room.
Yeah, in a movie, I don't feel like a lot of time would need to be spent on this. This is last huge epic montage battle of him taking Olympus.
This book has just been so good at just like taking turns where I don't expect them. Darrow being underground and being a red, and Mars isn't terraformed. Just kidding. Yes, it is. Yeah. And up to the point where you're in this game and this is how you're going to win the game. And I'm thinking he's going to follow it to okay, so this is going to be a story of how Darrow and House Mars take all the other houses down.
Right.
Wrong. No, he's going to kill the proctors of it. Like,
and you know why...
I'm not going to win the game. And I'm going to destroy the game.
And you know why I think
creative use of game mechanics.
Right. And you know why I think this is such good kind of beat timing for this book is that the Jackal and Apollo were the bad guys we wanted to see him beat. So time is spent on the death of the Jackal and the death of Apollo. We don't care about a long protracted scene of him taking Olympus and then Jupiter. Who cares? And neither does he, which I love, because he faces Jupiter and he's just like, whatever, Jupiter. Severo's in a ghost cloak, hamstrings him. You know, like we don't need a long epic battle with Jupiter. Whatever, Jupiter, you're dead.
Yeah, and they tie up the other proctors and throw them in a closet.
Yeah. And this is what I want. It's almost like 42 and 43 are end notes, and they're not necessary. It's just and this is what happened.
There's a great few lines here where the other golds that are following him. And like, you know, nameless gold Oathbreaker number 4.
Yeah, right.
goes to go after one of the female proctors, and Darrow, there's a scene where Darrow grabs him and goes, "No, you kill who I tell you to kill."
Yeah, right.
And the guy goes, "Oh yes, sir. Sorry, sir." Yes.
Yeah. But he's leading them through heart. Like they follow him because of who he is. I really like this. Because Jupiter represents the decadence of society, and I just love it.
Yeah, so we find Mustang in Olympus.
Yeah, so chapter 43, the last test.
Oh my god!
Go get the Jackal. Go get the Jackal, and you bring him to me.
We didn't big thing when
that's in this chapter.
When Apollo has him in the air, he says "bloody damn" to him.
Oh yes, that's right.
And so it's revealed that he's a red, but there's a time lag in when the footage gets off, out from the Institute, and so he has Severo here edit the footage. So Severo knows he's a red, but Severo edits the footage.
And at this point, Luke,
yeah,
you became Severo in my head.
What? Oh, because I'm editing the footage.
Because you're editing the footage. Because he sent Severo to edit the footage.
Because
I'm not a little guy.
Because when Dirty Uncle Klob says "bloody damn" during the podcast, you edit it out before it goes out.
Yes. But no, this is totally when it became. Oh, so Severo's kind of a techie too. Okay.
Okay. I'm okay with it. Severo's cool.
Severo is cool. Yeah. Fitchner reveals that Mustang.
I want to rewind. Before that, though,
that's rewind. That's now Neil's catchphrase.
You guys keep going past so many things.
Juxtaposition,
aspect, rewind,
and I don't have one yet. We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get you there. But Mustang comes back after they save, and they go and say, "Well, I want you to go get the Jackal.
Yep.
Go find him," and they have their first kiss. Because it finally happens now.
This is a very good point. Yes, I like
thinking back to his necklace, which he was given back to him by Fitchner after he died. Not sure why I'm making air quotes. No one can see those. He thought, I can't give this to her though.
No,
I can't do it.
Which I like. Part of it, because we wouldn't have wanted that as readers.
No. And then there's the nice line of, "Fetch me the Jackal standard. Yes, Lord Reaper." Mockingly bow, wink, and gone. And when we get to the thing that happens pretty soon, where I have a lot of exclamation points on it.
Yeah, and that's super good too, because like in the moment that makes sense. Like it's kind of more flirty.
Yeah, it does.
And
but then in the reveal, it makes even more sense.
And so Fitchner reveals that Mustang is the Jackal's twin sister.
I was so mad. I was so mad.
Man. And he just sent her after him.
And I love this because you're 2 chapters away from the end, and you're thinking, okay, Darrow. Mustang's gonna betray Darrow,
and that will lead to book 2 of them hunting the siblings
and everything in this book has been twisting on us, and we're like, Mustang is going to betray, right? Darrow returns to House Mars to finish things off.
Roke is alive.
Yeah, I know, right? Roke is alive.
Yes,
Roke is alive. I'm so happy that Roke is alive.
Where was Roke during this whole time?
It's been a while.
Yeah, right.
It's been a while, but where was he?
Where was he? I don't know.
I don't know either.
No, nobody knows.
No one knows. It never. It doesn't get said. I was like, I don't know.
I'm waiting for one of you guys to
be fair.
He looks terrible.
To be fair, Roke is terrible and like barely standing, and they talk about how he's pale for a gold. And
right.
He looks bad.
Yeah, he looks bad, and I get the feeling that somehow he got away from Antonia.
Yeah, right.
But it never goes into how or into that here, because we've got to keep fast forwarding now. And again, going to the pacing thing here.
I don't mind this
I'm
though.
not
None of this is an issue for me.
But I love the fact that Roke is still alive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you can tell he's a little bit more jaded now.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But he still spouts these beautiful lines to Darrow where it's just comparing him to the different gods and the poetry of the Reaper in your blade and all this, and I love that from Roke. And we talked about it when we first met him in the first podcast. The rogue that is Roke.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I like that. And Cassius then swears that the next time they meet, they'll kill him. He'll kill him.
Well, running it through pretty quickly, yes.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But
because of the houses, right?
Correct. And the blood feud. It's sworn to the whole
so talk
family
about the blood,
members now.
Because this will play big in the next book.
Yeah.
Yes. So what is this blood feud that happens? Because Darrow is going
kind of disgusting. How
my name is Cassius Obalon. Yeah. You killed my brother. Prepare to die. Princess Bride. Right?
Oh, that was good though. That was good.
Good one.
Cassius bites a scab on his knuckles.
Yep.
Takes a quick sucking of the blood and spits it right into Darrow's face to claim this blood feud. And just disgusting.
It's old school.
Well, old school.
I love it.
I do love it.
And now Darrow is the primus of House Mars.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Darrow's got all this stuff like as tech.
Yeah.
And he's able to they just overthrow House Mars, no problem. It's
when you're in mech armor and fly down with lasers.
You got a good chance. Yeah, when you fly in like Iron Man.
It's all right.
You can beat the emaciated guys with swords.
Right. And they still don't have food.
And so then this translates us into the last chapter here. 44 Rise. The Rise.
So good.
I have won.
I love it. I love it. Mustang returns with the jackal. And she doesn't betray him. I was not prepared for this because I thought this book was going to end on a cliffhanger of her betrayal.
These twists and
lead to book 2.
I didn't want it. So I'm glad it doesn't happen. But I thought that's where it was going.
And I was waiting for some trick here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I was waiting for he comes and he's in the shackles and but he's not really in the shackles and so he stabs him in the back or something like that.
Right.
And this was kind of the Thor Loki moment for me too.
Where
it's like, I agree. He's my brother, but we caught him and we're going to put him in prison now.
Right. And so I like Darrow does a little bit of musing here about society one last time here, and that Mustang is the best of the Golds. And there's goodness in the Golds because of what you said, Luke, because in many ways they are the best humanity can offer.
Yeah.
But also the worst humanity can offer.
But, is that just what humanity is?
Yeah, right.
And we have this moment here too before the game is shut down, before the game itself is over here.
Before he kills all the proctors.
Where we have Darrow and Severo kind of just standing. It's almost like an elevator scene.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Where they're just kind of standing there and Darrow's like, and Darrow realized, Girl of Ipaneema's playing.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me right now?
And Darrow realizes what
obscure it is.
Yeah, I got nothing on that.
That's what's playing in every elevator in every movie.
Oh my God. Google or YouTube that song.
I guess, you say that, I know exactly the song you're talking about. Yeah. The song that was already in my head.
Yes. Yeah. And just kind of that moment where Darrow realizes that he messed up when he was in the Arrow and Apollo. He remembers it. And we have this moment with Severo where he's like, did you notice it? Did you notice anything when you were editing the footage? And Severo's just like, I took care of it.
Yeah, I got you.
We're good. I got you. We're good.
I really like this. And then, again, Severo knows about Bloody Dam and edits it out. This is where we find out about that. Mm-hmm. And the Arch-Governor Augustus, right, the leader of Mars, arrives.
The guy who hung Io.
Yeah, right? Oh. But this is good because this is exactly where Darrow wants to be, right?
Yeah.
Like, he is right next to the guy who hung Io.
Knife ring.
Yep. But he's got to hold himself back, right? He's not going to do it because that is betraying Io and what she wanted from him.
I have to take down the society, not the one guy.
Yeah. So Augustus wants to be a patron to Darrow because Darrow, of course, is the rock star and everybody wants him. So Augustus takes him on, right?
And I did get the feeling here too that Augustus wanted to get him before anybody else. It's not for Darrow.
Right.
It's Augustus wants to get him because maybe something's a little off with Augustus.
Right.
Whoever with Augustus's position. So if he can convince this guy who just did this to come into his house and to work for him, he can... Augustus can capitalize off of Darrow's fame now.
Right. And if there's a way to set up a
maybe
book,
he won't kill me. He killed the Proctors. Maybe he won't kill me.
Right. In many ways, I feel like this could be a standalone book, right? You could leave off here and let your imagination take you where it will. But how could you? I love this last little paragraph where he says, about Augustus, his pride reeks. I grit my teeth and convince myself this is the right path. With him, I will rise. I will attend the academy. I will learn to lead fleets. I will win. I will sharpen myself into a sword. I will give my soul. I will drive to hell in hopes of one day rising to freedom. I will sacrifice. I will grow my legend and spread it amongst the peoples of all the worlds until I am fit to lead the armies that will break the chains of bondage. Because I am not simply an agent of the sons of Ares. I am not simply a tactic or device in Ares' schemes. I am the hope of my people, of all people in bondage. Right? Like he's seeing his time has now transformed even his vision of not only am I leading my people, the Reds, out, but, I can do this also for people like, I don't know that he's seeing Mustang and other people, but, Severo, other people who are also in bondage.
And he's seen enough of the other colors now.
Yes, the pinks.
And the browns.
Well, we haven't gotten to blues yet.
Yep, the orange. That's right. And very much a Moses,
Yes,
I will do this.
Let my people go.
Do this to lead my people out.
Right, against out of the gold of Egypt. Yes. Right. Awesome. Yeah, it is just awesome. So that ends our review of the first.
That is our rise through
that is our rise through Red Rising.
Whoa. All right. So we made it. Made it to the end. Red Rising. The first book of the Red Rising Trilogy. And I think it's time for some final thoughts.
Yeah.
We'll close this out. We'll make our way onward to Golden Sun. Neil. How are you feeling at the end of Red Rising?
After the beginning parts of the books, drawing me in, getting me attached to characters, wanting to know what's going to happen to characters, everything, it's a beautiful setup. Just fantastic. One of the better science fiction books I've read. And thinking about it, sadly, I haven't actually read very many science fiction. It's mostly all fantasy, apparently, now that I'm thinking about it.
Right.
And this one rises, no pun intended, to being almost towards the cream of the crop. But near the end, where I started starting about chapter 40, it goes through 40, 41, 42, 43, 44 in such a fast pace. Normally I like fast-paced books, but that pace seemed a little too quick for me, where it raised more questions about things that were happening. And I understand, maybe later books, those questions will get answered where there's more time. But the issues I have there keep it away from the perfect rating. I'm sorry for those of you glaring at me around the table. And right now I give it 4 out of 5 howlers would approve of this book. The 5th one might have gotten lost inside one of those horses, and no one let him out.
Guys!
And speaking of that 5th howler, Clap, what did you think?
Well, kids, your old Uncle Clob here. I like what Pierce Brown has done. I like the enjoyment of the book. I like the enjoyment of his plot arc, of him going through his rising action, of getting to this climax, of the number of twists and turns that we take and that he throws in with it. I do have a problem with a lot of the time jumps, just because I feel like there should have been more going on outside of our main characters. I wanted more bigger characters out of the other houses trying to jockey for position and trying to jockey for winning the game. It really felt like Darrow and the Jackal were the only two actually trying to win the game. And I felt that there should have been more of the different characters from the different houses, the different primuses from the different houses trying to win the game. That being said, I enjoy the arc. I'm actually almost done with the second book right now as we sit here. And I enjoy where things are going. I enjoy how he's weaving his characters together, how he's weaving all the books themselves together. So that being said, I'm going to end it pretty quickly here. I'm going to go with 3 out of 5 random iron blades coming into the spectrum here. Like I said, I like everything that's going on. I like what's happening here. There are a few holes for me, however. Luke, how are you feeling?
Well, this book, it's so powerful to me. The way I've never read another book who has gotten me so invested in a character in 4 chapters, to where like I'm actually like I'm heartbroken, when she's gone. The twists, the turns, the way it kept me guessing. I can't rate this book high enough. Yeah, I recommend this book enough. The problems you guys had at the end, I wasn't there. I was so ingrained in this that I didn't even notice, and I did bring that up. But really, where I'm sitting, this book is very important to me. It's what got me back into reading books. I mean, you're in school, you have to read books. It's always books you don't like. And so, well, it's not always books you don't like. I see you, Neil. It's mostly books I didn't like. It's mostly books I didn't want to read. And, becoming an adult, just being out there, being somebody who works in the technology field and is always like in front of an LCD screen, and I just need a break from it. This book was recommended very highly to me, and I read it, and it's what drew me back in. It's kind of what, it's what made me start reading again, and made me start reading for enjoyment purposes only, and kind of why I'm here on this podcast. I'm going to rate this book 4.95 thermal detonator explosions out of 5. It has a sentimental place in my heart. The writing is amazing. I really want this to become a movie, kind of, but now I feel like all of my friends in high school who are like, oh, the Harry Potter movies weren't any good, the books were so much better. But that is where I'm sitting here. Bob, where are you at, my friend?
Oh man, I think in some ways for me, Red Rising kind of goes beyond definition in a lot of ways. I mean, it is a science fiction book, but it is a lot of ways just a Greek tragedy with this veneer of science fiction laced through it. There are times in this book where it's just it's a medieval romp. It's brutal, fantasy violence, with tech involved. For me, I'm kind of with you, Luke, that the emotions that I felt while reading this book have not. I do a lot of reading, and there are books that I like. I like, the images that come to mind as I read them. But as far as getting emotionally involved in my late 30s with characters in a fantasy or science fiction novel, doesn't happen often. But like you said, by chapter 4, I'm right there with Io. I'm feeling the nail going down my spine, with dread at what's coming. This book to me is in a lot of ways a peerless Scard. I guess I have no problems with it whatsoever, except for maybe in the beginning what I had talked about as far as ages. For this to be a perfect novel for me, these characters would have been in their early to mid-20s. It would have been like the perfect setting for me. Again, I can see if a person had read all kinds of the young adult fiction like Hunger Games and stuff, there's going to be lots of derivative stuff for you. None of that came for me, so this all felt fresh and new, whereas probably a lot of people would be like, no, a lot of this is from other things. I didn't feel that, so I can only go with what my feelings were. But yeah, I'm with you, Luke. I would recommend this highly to anybody. I would stand with Darrow and defend this book on the tops of Mount Olympus against all naysayers, because this is a fantastic book. Only because of the age thing can I not go 5. Otherwise, it would be a solid 5. And I won't go obscure decimal, so I'm close there with you. If you would have done the 0.9, I would have been right there with you. But I'm going to go 4.5 belly burrowing pit vipers, because that's where this book gets me. It gets me right in the stomach all the time. So the highest recommend on this book.
that I can make with just one kind of prop.
Well, Bob, Klob, Neil, this has been fun. This is kind of cool. We will be coming back with Golden Sun very soon. I know we're a little off from our reading calendar, partially because of work. Coming up, January, we're going to take off.
Yeah, I was going to say, have we brought that up?
We haven't, and actually we haven't reflected on the website yet.
And it's not even reflected on the website. Oops. Just so you know, if you're listening, if you're a sort of truth person, sorry, that one will come. We are deleting that. Neil is going to hit me. But yeah, we are off schedule. We would like to have it so that in the month that we review a book, or say we're going to review it,
it's coming out. It's the beginning of the month,
beginning and end. So you'll get both parts in that month. So we're taking sort of truth off of our reading schedule, and we are. February, the beginning of February, is when we will come out
Android's Dream of Electric Sheep.
Android's Dream of Electric Sheep.
Yes. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. We're going to do our best to get through the Red Rising trilogy. It's the last one, of... What's the last book in this?
Morningstar.
The last episode of Morningstar is probably going to come out in the beginning of January.
In the beginning of January, anyway, yeah.
But yeah, then you won't get anything from us until the beginning of February, and we will be on track from there on out.
Right.
But as always, thank you guys so much for listening to us. This podcast has grown from way more than anything we ever thought it would be.
Right. And thank you for, again, as always, thank you for joining us on this journey. Thank you for understanding that we're still learning.
right, yeah, exactly.
We're still learning how to put all these pieces together. By all means, give us feedback on Facebook. Give us feedback on Twitter. Email us at dungeonsandweebspodcast@gmail.com.
Right. I mean, we have just come from the Dragonlance cycle where we were getting tons of feedback. According to download numbers, Red Rising super popular, but you guys aren't talking.
But maybe they just agree with us. Who knows?
Even if you agree with us.
Even if you agree with us, hey, we would like to get your thoughts, your comments. When you first read this book, what you thought. Any praise or hate, whatever you've got for the Red Rising trilogy or what we're doing here, let us know, because we would love to hear from you, love to read it on the show, So please respond.
Yeah, and hey, Neil, thanks for joining us as our rotating fourth chair on the Red Rising trilogy. But hey, you are the newbie, and I am going to make you leave the tip here as we get back into the ship and get the heck out of here.
I knew I shouldn't have waited till the end. Rats.
All right.
I guess.
Hey, darling, grab me another one, please, and why don't you come over and keep an old man water next to the fire?
Cut him off.
Once bitten, twice shy.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Dungeons and Dweebs. There's even more adventuring to be had at our website, dungeonsandweebs.com. We would love to hear from you. You can email us at dungeonsandweebspodcast@gmail.com. You can also find Dungeons and Dweebs on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Find all those links at dungeonsandweebs.com. If you enjoyed the podcast, please help spread the word by leaving us a 5-star review on iTunes. The music for Dungeons and Dweebs is Fatal Fight by Royalty Free Kings, and can be found on their website, royaltyfreekings.com. Dungeons and Dweebs is a Tim Gilbert Media production. Copyright 2017. All rights reserved. And no part of this show can be reproduced, repurposed, or redistributed without the express written permission of Tim Gilbert Media.